Welcome, everyone, to episode 400 of the Thumbstick Athletes Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
I'm Eric.
Will.
Corey.
We got it right. All right.
Will,
Did it.
great job. I was
All
pointing
right.
at the screen, and that was meant for you to not fuck it up.
It only
You
took
didn't.
400 episodes.
I feel like we've had practice the past couple weeks, right? Because you guys have been on for a few episodes the past few weeks. But yeah, we're going to be doing our top 10 games revisited. I called it Top 10 Games 4.0 because I didn't want to put 4 revisiteds on the episode title. I feel like it was a bit redundant. So that's going to be our main topic. Does anyone have anything they want to tease for later on in the episode?
No.
Yeah, no, I got nothing.
I have some things. I don't know how much time, how long I'll last, how long this episode
Story
will
of your
run.
life, huh, Corey?
Story of my life. But I've actually played some cool new-ish games that probably aren't in the mainstream, like Sunless Skies. I've played a lot of.
Oh, nice.
I played a lot of Slay the Spire recently. I feel like there was another one. I played a Little Baba and You, which Eric recommended. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of weird kind of out there things, but games that are really, really good, by the way.
Uh-huh. Very nice. Yeah, I don't have anything to tease game-wise. I've only been playing Starlink this past week or so. But we are going to be talking about the Google Stadia announcement that they made at the Game Developers Conference. I actually watched the whole conference. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk a little bit about the Nindy showcase that was earlier today that I actually forgot about. And then I watched this last half or whatever, and then I caught the whole thing. So we'll be covering that a little bit during probably Nibble Bits. It depends on how long everything goes here. Who knows? I should also say we're kind of drinking the three older Thumbstick athletes. Will is not partaking, but this will be a little more of an old school episode, I would think, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Due to the boozing, so all of our tolerances have significantly gone down since the early days of the podcast.
I didn't
so.
eat dinner either.
Oh, so yeah.
Me neither. Actually, it's funny because I bought Taco Bell last night and didn't eat it all last night because I was trying to be, what's the word? I was trying to look out for my weight a little bit, but it's actually in the oven right now.
Taco Bell?
Reheating Taco Bell in the oven.
Nice.
Huh.
Couple burritos. I've got a rattlesnake burrito there, and
Oh, dude. I
don't remember what the other one is. Did you like it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. Didn't sit well in the old tummy.
I bet it's
looking
those
forward to
it's
that.
those peppers, right?
It took about 2 minutes to hit. Yeah.
Nice.
Uh,
So yeah, okay. Top 10 games. Will, I'm gonna kind of go in order here. Will, we'll start with you in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. So, what do you got?
so, how are we doing this, Dan? Are we going over our list episode 300, and then the new one? Like,
No,
what?
I mean you can kind of do it. However, I was gonna say save the game, and then I'll say like if it's new on the list or if it moved up or down. I was gonna go that way, but your current episode 400 top 10 game number 10. Start there, and then you can go from there.
Okay, so at number 10, my newcomer to my list is Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight.
Hollow
Wow.
Knight.
Wow.
I should say right off the bat, I think I cut 5 games off of my episode 300 list.
Wow.
And I'm going to say them right now, just to keep you guys guessing, but I've cut Terraria, Earthbound, Smash Brothers, Wii U, Fallout 3, and Final Fantasy 7.
Wow.
Well, I have a pretty good idea what you replace Smash Brothers with. Probably a game of the same title.
I don't know, you might be a little surprised.
Okay, well, maybe.
But, so Hollow Knight is one of the newcomers on there, pretty much replacing Terraria. So, I just bought Hollow Knight on PC. It's one of my favorite indie games of all time. I love so much about the game. The story is it's a Metro type game where you're going through these dungeons and exploring this crazy world, but it's it's got a very hidden story that's actually really cool, to the point that I've actually watched YouTube videos to figure out what's going on behind with the narrative. And just everything about the game. I love the character. I love the customization of the abilities. It's a game that the common theme for my episode 400 list are games that I always think about how much I love, and this is a game that I always think about. So, so at number 10, I got Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight. What was your previous number 10?
So previous number 10
At
was
300.
Life is Strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. I'll go next. My number 10 game is Stardew Valley. This is new. It was not on my list last time. I don't remember what year it came out, but I'm pretty sure I had at least played it. But I put 50, 60 hours on PC and then well over 70 on the Nintendo Switch. It's the game I always revisit when I need something relaxing to play. Not necessarily mindless, but relaxing. The music, the sounds the game makes. It's just a very excellent, relaxing game. And my previous episode 300 list had Mario Kart 8 at number 10. So that might have gone up or down or off or who knows. But Stardew Valley, number 10. Eric, number 10.
Well, here's the thing. I looked at my top 10 list, and I was really having trouble seeing any games on there that I wanted to take off.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I've got a list of 4 games here that I think
could slot
possibly
into the bottom.
crack the top 10.
Okay.
And I just wanted to see what you guys thought.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, do you want me to say what my previous number 10 was first? Is that...
Yeah, that's a good call.
All right, so my previous number 10 was Bloodborne. That's a good one.
It is a very good one.
Yeah. Caught it.
I've been thinking a lot about that game recently.
I don't know if I can cut that one. So the 4, you want me to just tell you the 4 games that I thought could crack?
Yeah.
So I have Breath of the Wild, Red Dead Redemption 2, Smash Ultimate, and Celeste.
Ooh.
Wow.
That is a tough call right there.
Yeah. So I don't know how you want to do this, because I have obviously 9 other games.
Do more of those games have to go above, or is it just one of those games is cracking your top 10 and that's it?
Well, they don't necessarily have to go above. But, you know.
Do you think Bloodborne would slot further down your top 10?
Probably. Because Bloodborne's not coming off.
I would have to hear the rest of them to help.
Yeah.
With the thought process of it, because I think all of
I
these
can
games
read
are
them unless you want to wait until after.
I'm fine with Eric going over his list and us hashing it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Axe Bloodborne. Beardless says you can axe Bloodborne. It's had its time in the sun.
But where does it sit in your being, Eric?
Well, I guess you have to ask yourself, does it sit in a better place than Breath of the Wild?
In my opinion.
I would say yes.
I would say, okay, here's my thought, Eric. I think Red Dead Redemption would probably take Bloodborne's place here, right?
Probably not.
No? Okay.
I really liked Bloodborne a lot.
That would be the game out of those 4 that I would pick to push Bloodborne off the list.
Well, let me read the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah, read the other ones, because I feel like there might be one that's further down your list you might feel a little less passionately about.
I don't know. You just listen. You tell me.
Okay.
There is one probably. Number 9, I have a Mario 64. 8 is Metal Gear Solid 5.
What are you, 110 years old?
Pardon?
I'm just teasing you.
7 is Skyrim.
Yeah, you are 110 years old.
Corey, I'm just nostalgic. 6 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. 5 is Halo, the first Halo. 4 is Heavy Rain. 3 is Journey. 2 is Last of Us, and 1 is Rocket League. Rocket League's not changing.
Not changing. Okay.
So I would
Last
assume
of Us
your
isn't
top.
changing either. Actually, top 3 is pretty set.
I was gonna say your top 3 sounds like it's not changing.
Yeah.
Well, what about Mario 64?
I feel like if one is leaving, it might be Metal Gear Solid.
That was the second game I was gonna ask about too.
The one that jumped out at me, Eric, is Heavy Rain, and not because I don't think it's a good game, but I feel like we've come a long way in like dynamic narrative. And though we haven't had a game like Heavy Rain come out recently, I feel like we could make some big improvements there. But if it sits in your being so nicely, I wouldn't want to remove it from your being.
Yeah. Remember, that's the one I played in one sitting.
True.
For 4 in February. It
And
was
that
my
game
last one.
was awesome when it came out.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to get rid of it.
Fair enough.
How do you feel about Skyrim?
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys want to remove those games instead of Metal Gear.
Go ahead, Will.
I was gonna say the 3 that jumped out the most to me were Metal Gear, Mario 64, and Skyrim.
I would say of the 4 games that I might add, Red Dead is probably the top one.
Okay.
That's what I thought, and I'm gonna speak in defense of Metal Gear Solid 5 for you, Eric, only because you've mentioned repeatedly how you're surprised a game like that exists.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's something to think about.
But you also got to think about the bad parts of those games.
Yeah, I mean
The story.
The story in Metal Gear Solid 5 was
Well, you know
nonsense.
me, I'm not a story guy.
Right.
I mean, the multiplayer stuff too, right? Wasn't that a big no-no for you?
I didn't even play it.
Oh, okay.
Didn't play it. I don't know. I guess I don't know.
Think of it. Try to approach it from a different direction and ask yourself, like, characters wise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Dan's point about like Red Dead being the one that I would take off or include on in your top 10 out of all of them if I had to pick one. And for me, like Arthur Morgan was such a strong character that in itself would be enough to make it on my list. But like Metal Gear doesn't have super strong characters. I didn't play as much as you guys. Neither does Skyrim. I know that's not what we're basing it on, but like at least for me, that's one of the things I think about.
All right. Yeah, maybe I would replace Skyrim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I replace Skyrim on my list if it makes you feel better.
Yeah. All right, let's do that. I'll take Skyrim out, and then I'll put Red Dead. Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 10. You know?
RDR2, number 10.
Yeah.
I like that, Eric. I like that move.
All right, and then why don't we keep going around the table, and if during the discussions something springs to mind, or I decide to put one of these other ones in, we'll discuss it.
So you're slotting Bloodborne to 9 with Red Dead at 10?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Corey, number 10.
I've got Civ 6 at number 10, and it wasn't preconceived. It got to the point, and I don't have my previous list in front of me. I could probably call it up, but if one of you guys has it ready, I'd appreciate it. But it was one of those things where whatever game was on there, I didn't feel strongly enough about, and I was like, oh, you know what? I need one more game. What's the flavor of the week right now? And for me, that's Civ 6, especially with the expansion, the Rising Storm, not Rising Storm. That was the last one, or is that this expansion? I don't remember.
Rising Storm.
Rise and Fall was the previous one.
Rise and Fall, Gathering Storm.
Storm.
The current one. I've just been so enamored with Civ, and it just feels so complete for me. It hasn't felt this complete since Civ 4. Which I guess is only 2 games ago, but still, like, I've had such a good time with Civ 6, and style is key for me. You get the voice of what's his tits from Game of Thrones. it's just like the polish is what separates Civilization games for me from all the other grand strategy games out there. And yeah, I just so enamored with it right now. That in this list, honestly, especially Civ 6 could change next week. I could change my mind about that, but just struck gold at the right time, I guess.
So Corey, I have your list if you want to hear your 10.
Sure.
Final Fantasy 9 was your 10.
Okay. Great game.
So.
But I would still have Civ 6 there instead.
So Final Fantasy 9 is not on your current list.
For this episode 400, no, it is not.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, also,
Did you rebuild from the ground up, Corey?
No, I would say half of my list is still games I've had previously.
Okay.
Yeah, I do want to say too, make sure you're writing these down, because I do want to I've got a note now, so I can have all these saved.
I got it. I got it written.
I can't type them currently because I'll get too distracted. So
That's so forward thinking of you, Dan. If only one of us thought of that in previous episodes.
well, I figured you weren't gonna take notes for this one, so I figured I would take over the
I was gonna hold the list hostage.
red
and
shirt.
I do I listened to you guys talking about it on the podcast, and you're like, "Oh, Corey said in episode 300 that he has a list of everything." I was just gonna keep it for myself and not share it with you guys and be like, "Yep."
If you didn't answer me by Sunday, I was going to listen and get everybody their lists. So I was prepared in case you did something like that.
Red shirted ass. Will, go ahead. Number 9.
My number 9 had it on my last list, but Life is Strange, slotting one spot higher than episode 300. I mean, I don't know what more I can say about Life is Strange. It's an incredible game, tear-jerking narrative, unbelievable game.
I still, whenever I hear, just today too, whenever I hear Ashley Birch's voice, who did Chloe, it's Chloe to me. I can't get that out of my head. Like, there was a new game during the Nindies presentation today with her voice as the main character, and it's Chloe. Like,
It's Chloe, yeah. It's one of those characters that you will always associate them with that role that they had.
Yeah.
So, you know, I the more distance I have from the first Life is Strange, the more fondly I think of it, especially with how much I'm not enjoying the second Life is Strange. So.
Did that win our Game of the Year?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
What was the competition that year? Do we remember?
Last of Us.
No,
it wasn't. I don't remember. I really don't remember.
I don't remember either.
We'll have to look up what year it was.
Whatever it was an absolute shambles from us that year, as it usually is.
That would have been 2014,
2015.
I was thinking
15?
2014.
I think
Was it that long?
It was 2015 that was Final Fantasy 15, right? Or was that 2016?
Life is Strange came out in 2015.
2015. Okay.
4 years ago already. Wow.
That's crazy to me.
All right.
Came out amongst Fallout 4, Bloodborne,
Oh, I probably picked Bloodborne.
The Witcher.
Oh yeah. Wait,
Arkham
no.
Witcher
Knight.
3 and fucking Life is Strange 1. God, you guys are the worst.
I still stand by that.
That's
I know. That's what makes it worse.
I didn't end up playing it that year. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have had it above The Witcher.
Of course not, Dan.
But
Sensible.
I did really like the Life is Strange games. So
Also came out that year, Eric, Rocket League on PC.
Oh, that's the best game of all time.
Arguably.
No,
Not for you, it isn't.
not for me. I dare you to argue that.
all right, my number 9 is BioShock Infinite. I previously had it at looks like number 7. So moved down a little bit, but still a great game. Although, you know, at this point the mechanics in it are a little bit dated compared to more modern first-person shooters. But the story still grabs me. I still try to play at least a little bit every year. It's one of those games I try to revisit every year.
You think the mechanics are dated?
Yeah, I mean, as compared to like a shooter you would play nowadays.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's at this point, it's what, 5 years
8.
old? 6 years old.
6, 7, I
Yeah,
think.
it's been out for a while.
It's a former Game of the Year winner on this podcast too.
Mm-hmm.
Beating the mighty Last of
It
Us.
beat The Last of Us. Yep.
Wow, what a sad podcast this is.
I've been meaning to tweet out to the developers of Celeste that Celeste won our 2018 Game of the Year.
Oh yeah, that's a win. I would put that on the back of the box if I was the publishers of Celeste.
Yeah.
Man, it's one of the few years we got it right, huh, boys?
Yeah, because I mean, it was up against some pretty hefty competition. So.
I honestly feel like we've gotten it right every year. Personally, even the years where the game I picked didn't win.
Wow. At least one of us does, huh?
We'd have to go back and look because maybe I'm second. I think I'm starting to second guess what I just
There-
said. but-
there's
Yeah,
a-
I think you, because didn't Dragon Age win?
Dragon Age did win.
Yeah, but in retrospect, I probably would have picked Dragon Age. I just didn't. I didn't play it enough.
Okay.
Eric picked
Year two.
Dragon Age, but he definitely liked another game way more for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yep. Yep.
Me and Will just did an episode where we revisited all these too, and I don't remember already. It was only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Eric, 9.
What is it? Mario 64.
Mario 64. Okay.
Yeah, that was my number 9.
Staying on the list.
Well, I think so. I liked Breath of the Wild. Do you remember me talking like super fondly about it?
Yeah,
Well, I
at
guess
least
I
at
moved
first.
Bloodborne to number 9.
Yeah, you moved Bloodborne up.
Sorry, yeah, I moved Bloodborne to number 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Corey.
Yep.
Number 9.
I actually have Hearthstone at number 9. It's a game that like is on my top 10, isn't on my top 10, is on my top 10. But this time doing the list, excuse me for burping. This time when I was doing my list, I was really trying to think like what games can I look back on and like played a major role in my life.
It's going to keep happening.
There it is. Yeah, so Hearthstone has been a game that's been a big part of my life for the last since it came out. I mean, 6-7 years maybe. But it's gotten to the point now where I can't even play on the ladder. The ladder is just no fun for me. It's people that are really freaking good at Hearthstone that look up like the best deck meta combos and like all that bullshit, and I just don't have time for that. So basically all I do now is I do the tavern brawl every week and I do the arena runs because the playing field is more even because everybody's getting random cards that you have to sort of do a fantasy draft for. So that's where I'm at with Hearthstone. I think they've done a great job of making that game last. They do a really good job of trickling out content. Now they do solo adventures with every expansion, which is nice because it's not just a card dump, it's content to go along with it, which I really appreciate as somebody who doesn't play on the ladder. But there's not really much more to say about Hearthstone other than it's been a big part of my gaming past.
I think it fits on your list, Corey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
Comfortably at
Corey,
number 9.
I think Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Will.
Yeah.
Number 8.
My number 8, Call of Duty World at War. Another returning game. I think it slotted at number 8 last year as well for me. Call of Duty World at War is probably my favorite first-person shooter I've ever played. I put a disgusting amount of hours in that game. I say it every time that it comes up, but I got 10th Prestige on my Xbox 360 and PC at the max level. Unlocked everything in that game. In my opinion, it's the last great Call of Duty game.
Okay.
And I say that knowing Modern Warfare 2 came out after that.
I'm with you.
I'm still Call of Duty 4 and 5 were the peak of Call of Duty, and I don't think they've been the same since.
Totally agree.
5 was World at War?
Yeah.
Completely agree, Will.
I just like these new Call of Duty games they're convoluted. I don't know. The zombie sucks too.
I liked this new one. I know it didn't have a campaign, but
What was the new
I
one?
liked it for what it was.
Blops 4.
Black Ops 4.
And you know what? That's probably one of the ones that I've liked the most recently. Because I didn't really care for the World War II one that came out, or the one before that, which was Infinite Warfare, I
Oh,
think.
I actually liked the World War II one, WW2, yeah. I did like that one. But it's not as good as Modern Warfare or World at War.
Yeah, it's just the biggest thing is the side modes. And while Blackout's really good, but the zombie modes in these games are just so bad now. I think they're dumb.
Oh, completely agree. The zombie modes, there's just so much bullshit going on. Like, it was fun when it was just killing zombies and like repairing your house and like running around in kind of a small area. Like, you knew what to do. It was simple, but it was super fun. And it got like kind of scary at one point, you know?
Yeah.
But they've tried to do too much with it, and it's just not. I completely agree.
They're like when you and I played, I think it was the last one, Eric. We did that like hour-long zombie mission, but we had no idea what we were doing any of the time.
No idea.
And like just one guy was doing everything, and like we just didn't know what was going on. And it was just like it wasn't fun because of that.
Well, the thing is, like, it's a side multiplayer mode that doesn't respect your time. Because you have to put all this time and energy into figuring out like what the fuck you're supposed to do in this zombie mode. Whereas that first one, it was just like, all right, you know, go in here into this house and have fun and kill zombies, and that was it, you know.
Yeah.
And it was just pure, and now it's no longer pure.
It's tainted.
Tainted zombies.
Tainted by sin.
I agree. I think
So-
you nailed it, Will.
Yeah. So all the other Call of Duty suck, and
World at War
Modern
is great.
Warfare and World at War are the last great ones. So that's my number 8.
I have not played World at War. I should play that at some point. At least the campaign. I won't play online, but
Campaign's actually pretty cool. I
Yeah.
really like the campaign for that game.
I remember playing Call of Duty 2.
I think 3 was my first one that I played. I had it on Xbox 360, I think.
I think we had the
was-
first one on PC.
That was Medal of Honor.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Medal of Honor Allied Assault?
I think so.
Will, how could you screw that up? You were a legend.
That's true. I remember playing as Wesley
Wow.
Snipes online at like 2 years old.
Well, what was it? Was it you that I was playing with where your game got hacked?
Oh.
Yeah, that was you guys. I remember that.
What
So
game
that
was that?
That was Call of Duty 4 on my Xbox. I
Oh yeah.
earned so much negative experience because I got hacked that it said I had to be level 1 to play. I
Dude.
can't ever play again.
How ridiculous was that?
How does that
You
happen?
literally can't play again
Yeah, no, I got taken away from me.
by some asshole.
Yeah. I actually have the remaster on my wish list on PC because I was like, I got it taken away from me, so I want to play it again online.
I have the remaster.
Do we have it on Xbox?
I'm almost positive.
Oh, so I can play.
I don't know. Maybe I bought it on PS4, but I might have it on Xbox.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking right now. It is. Yeah, we do have it. Okay.
Here you
So
go,
I can
buddy.
I can play. I don't have to.
Better
spend much money.
get in now before the hackers get a hold of it.
I saw a funny tweet real quick. It was somebody complaining about bullying today, and somebody said, "Obviously, you guys have never been in a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 lobby."
Hey, you don't know
Sure.
bullying.
It made me laugh just thinking about all those times that people were fighting in the group chat for God knows how long.
Fighting about their kill-death ratios.
The most vulgar shit. Like, they'd say the most vulgar shit to people who they've never met,
Yep.
will never meet, all over their Call of Duty kill-death ratio and the game they just played.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just the most
man.
rancid shit they could think of.
Because now, like, people are just in party chats. No one's actually in game chat anymore. But like
That's true.
in the 360 days, like people were in game chat, and it was
And they were brutal.
yeah.
Sounds awful.
You know, my tactic was just to always agree with whatever they said.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Got me.
Yeah. How'd you know?
Anyway, I could go
That's a good
on.
one.
We should move on to number 8.
Yeah.
So my number 8 is Final Fantasy Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics continues to plummet on my top 10 games list. It
And
was
come on.
previously number 6.
get your shit together and
It's
play
going
it
down.
again.
You'll know. Well, here's the thing. You'll notice a theme of my nostalgia games kind of wearing off on me. Yeah. It's still on the list at number 8. I think I talked about this last time, but it lost a little bit of its mystique for me after I finally was able to beat it. Because I think when we started this, I had it at number 2, maybe, or number 3.
Let me look, Dan.
It's consistently gone down every time. I know, like I said, last time I had it at number 6. Now it's number 8. Previously at number 8, I had Earthbound. Earthbound has been purged from my list in favor of Stardew Valley.
Man.
So, yeah.
So, Dan, you had Final Fantasy Tactics at 4 for episode 100. I don't have your original.
Yeah, I didn't go back and listen to the top 10 games. Or top 5 we did for the pilot episode. So,
I'm honestly a little hurt because this podcast has to stop before 500 because at this rate it's not going to be on.
Yeah, Dan, you're sick.
maybe it'll hold on by a thread to number 10.
There needs to be a Steam release so you can play it, or a Switch release.
I have it on my phone actually. It's on my.
Yeah,
but nobody plays that on their phone.
I played through the whole thing on my phone. That's how I beat it.
Really?
Yeah.
I've tried.
That's probably why you don't like it anymore.
I was just gonna say that.
You know what? If it was on the Switch, I probably would play it a lot. Now that you mention
That
it.
would be nice. Are there any Final Fantasies on the Switch?
Not yet.
Yeah,
They're coming
7
soon.
and 9.
Yeah, 7 and 9.
Jesus.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Come on.
That was-
15 Pocket Edition.
That was big
Final
news.
Fantasy.
The rest of them are coming
Wait.
soon.
When did 7 come out?
Or is
Not
it
yet.
almost
Soon.
out?
Soon. You can pre-purchase it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because I cut 7 from my list. Maybe I should replay it.
All right, Eric, number 8.
Ooh, Mario 64.
Uh-huh.
Wait, wasn't that your number 9?
No, I fucked up. That was Bloodborne.
No, that's right. Yeah, right.
So do we think I like? Oh, you know what game I meant to add to my possibilities? You guys are gonna hate this game. You're gonna hate it.
Uh-oh.
Fortnite.
You played a lot of Fortnite.
I played a shit ton of Fortnite.
I would
Top
add it
10?
to your list. Are you
But
kidding?
what am I gonna take off?
That game is a legend for
Oh my-
people that played it.
Does
But I
Eric
hate
hold
it
it?
at the same
Yeah.
Well, if you hate it, then it shouldn't be on your list.
It's love, hate.
Yeah, fuck that game.
Eric suddenly became a 12-year-old.
Yeah,
That's-
I don't know if I could live with myself. It's like picking Duke to win the title, even if they are the favorite. I can't very well pen them in and live with myself.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Mario 64. What do you think? Breath of the Wild, Smash Ultimate, Celeste?
Are you looking to replace Mario 64?
No, I don't think so. My list is boring because I don't really want to replace anything.
That's kind of how I felt. I only
Yeah.
purged one game from my list.
You know what happened? Because I know I texted you guys and said I think I was going to have a lot of changes. I didn't open the thing the whole way. So I was looking at the first list I made.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's going to change quite a bit.
yeah, episode 100, right?
Yeah, and then I looked at episode 300 and I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's not really going to change that much at all.
Right.
So yeah, I think I'm going to stand pat there with Mario 64.
All right. Corey, number 8.
I've got Dark Souls 3 at number 8. I think I had the first Dark Souls originally, but at this point it's more of just like, what do I remember? And I just don't remember enough about Dark Souls to be able to keep it in my top 10, but I do remember enough about Dark Souls 3. I also considered Bloodborne for the list. I felt like one of those games needed to be on my list because I adore them so much. And I've had some really good experiences with Dark Souls 3, including multiplayer experiences that I'll never forget. So that's how it made its way onto my list.
I got to tell you what, Corey. I got to thank you for talking me into playing Dark Souls. Because you were the first one of us that ever played it. And I remember the first time I played it, I went to an out-of-town opening for work. And I took my Xbox with me, and I bought that game to take with me. And I'll tell you what, man, I almost added one of the Dark Souls to my list. There were going to be 2 From Software games on my list.
Nice.
But that's because that was your recommendation. I'm not sure I ever would have played one.
I don't know. For me, it's all atmosphere. Like, I just adore the atmosphere. So, like, the enemy design and everything. Like, it just it's just, I don't know. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, like you said, Corey, man, the thing about it is, like, I remember in Dark Souls 2, just kind of like, I know you always talked about how it doesn't hold your hand and how you love that.
Yeah.
I remember in Dark Souls 2, like, I think it was 2, you know, there's a way you're supposed to kind of go to not get your ass handed to you, but it doesn't necessarily tell you that. It kind of led you that way a little more than the previous installment. Maybe it was Dark Souls 3. I don't remember. But anyway, I ended up not going that way. And I ended up getting my ass thoroughly handed to me on this bridge. And I was like, but you don't even care when you play Dark Souls, really.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the fun of the game is, like, just figuring out, figuring out the moves and, like, the trial and error of it. And I don't love trial and error games ordinarily. Like, I wasn't a fan of Limbo because it was just trial and error, but Dark Souls, like you said, with everything combined with the atmosphere and the learning aspect of it, and just, like, all of the different bosses and the different areas that you go to, it's you can't really beat it.
No, you really can't. It's as far as I'm concerned, in terms of, like, aesthetic beauty, I would put the Souls games, and I'm including Bloodborne in that, pretty far ahead of most games I've ever played.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a masterclass in game design as far as I'm concerned, and I know people have a hard time getting over the difficulty, but for me, like, it's manageable to the point where it's like when you die and lose your souls, it sucks, but, like, you don't mind slogging through it again just because the game is just so well polished.
Oh man, I have Dark Souls remastered for my Xbox and I haven't played it yet, but I'm tempted to leave right now and go do it.
I cannot wait for Sekiro. Am I pronouncing that right?
Friday.
Yeah, that's Friday.
It's 2 days, man.
So pumped.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a early unlock for that? I don't know how Xbox does their stuff.
No, that's all EA.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's my pick.
Number 8, Dark Souls 3, Corey.
Yes.
Good pick. Will, number 7.
Ooh, at number 7, newcomer, Final Fantasy 15. This game got cut. So I listened to at least my picks for episode 300, and I wanted to put Final Fantasy 15 on there, but Eric made a good point. Do you really want 4 Final Fantasy games on your top 10 list?
That's saturation.
Too much, yeah, absolutely. So I knew what games I wasn't going to cut. So I was like, which one do I want to cut? It'd probably be 7 out of all of them, as much as I liked it. Because for whatever reason, for all of the flaws that Final Fantasy 15 has had, I don't think... There's one other game on my list that I have been pining to play again, and it's been Final Fantasy 15. I don't know why. And I love it. It's a great game. I love it. You know, I haven't played any of the DLCs yet, so the story's even more fleshed out from when I've last played it. It's just like this beautiful, imperfect game that I just love so much, and I had to include it in this iteration of my top 10 because it's just a game that I look back so fondly on still to this day and still want to play it, and I am looking forward to when everything slows down in my gaming and I can sit down and play it again.
It's a great one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think it's an underrated Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I mean the golden era of Final Fantasy was PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
PS1. We're so far removed from that. I feel like people are always looking for reasons to hate on Final Fantasy now too. So it's, I don't know.
Yep.
I'm with you. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not a Final Fantasy fan, but I loved Final Fantasy 15. I thought it was awesome.
It's so different from any of the other Final Fantasies. It's just like the combat was a ton of fun. They fixed a lot of the stuff that people had complaints about, but it's not Final Fantasy 6 or 7. so like people kind of give it a hard time.
It's like Adam Sandler movies. It's like whoever's got the hottest, loudest take about the new Adam Sandler movie
Gets heard.
Yeah, but like what was the recent Adam Sandler movie that I thought was really well done, like awesome. The one where his daughter gets married.
Oh, love that
on
movie.
Netflix.
Yeah, you and I both love that one.
Yeah, so
can't
well
remember what it's
done.
called,
But
yeah.
even that like got middling reviews, and it's just because I personally I feel like it's just trendy to hate on Adam Sandler movies, and that's why it got the reviews that it did. So,
Yeah, that was a funny movie.
really good.
I've never really liked
Touching.
movie critics, to be honest with you.
No, they suck.
I think they think everything needs to be this deep plot with just this gripping tale, or it's a bad movie. You know what I mean?
Well, perfect example, Devil May Cry 5. Not everything has to be super deep and fucking intense. Sometimes you just want something where you can fucking mash some buttons or sit back and have a laugh.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, movies are made to hit a specific thing, and video games are the same way. And I hate that people just seem to have one criteria for when they rate something.
Yeah.
It just drives me nuts because it's just you don't need to have a gripping tale for it to be good. Like it can just be a shut your brain off movie or game, and it can still be just as good.
Well, both of those mediums are commercial forms of art. They're meant to be mass consumed. They're meant to sell a lot. And I feel like a lot of critics anyway, judge them based on their artistic merit rather than their consumer ability, which is probably the right way to do it. I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like those two things are at odds all the time, like the commercial aspect and the artistic aspect.
No, you're right, and I don't think there is a right way to.
No, there really isn't.
But yeah, so Final Fantasy 15 is my number 7.
Number 7. My number 7 is Mario Kart 8, formerly at number 10 on my list. I'm pretty sure it hadn't come out on the Switch yet when I put this on my list initially. It's since gone up on my list because I've had it on the Switch. I put another 75, 80 hours, mostly playing online too. It's my one competitive game that I'll revisit on occasion to pwn some noobs, you know. It's the one competitive game I've actually gotten decent at too, which is nice. And it's fun to play with the kids. You know, we for a while there, maybe a couple times a week we were playing Mario Kart 8. We haven't in a little while, but maybe I should bring it up to them, to all of the two older kids and my wife and I playing Mario Kart 8 again. Once the twins get older too, we have a second Switch. We'll just have to get a second Mario Kart 8 cartridge, and we can all play. So. Yeah,
but how are you going to take it, Dan, when your kids start beating you?
regularly? I've told them repeatedly that they will never beat me in Mario Kart. It's just not going to happen.
You and I both know that's not true.
I've got to hold on to that. Because I know they will be better than me at most video games. But I would like to keep Mario Kart, solely Daddy's game that he can win.
Yeah,
but Mario Kart,
just by saying that, Dan, you're condemning yourself. Could you imagine if our dad came to us and said, "You know what? No matter what, I'm going to beat you guys at Blades of Steel."
Yes.
Could you imagine what that would turn into?
Yes, but that's the point. You give them something to strive for.
Yeah.
And imagine their elation when they beat Daddy at Mario Kart, like legitimately.
Yeah, but how does that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So you're doing it for that.
As a dad, like you sometimes you just have to take one for the team, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll take my lumps, and if they trash talk, then that's fine.
I can't wait to school Landon's sorry ass on the basketball court.
You'll never dunk on me.
He'll never beat me on the pavement, boy.
We only have hope for one of my kids being into like sports.
For being an athlete.
Yeah, that just one.
Which one?
Marco.
Marco?
He's the only one that's shown any interest in sports. So.
All right.
The rest are going to be nerds.
He throws a good ball.
Yes, he
does. I don't care if Landon plays sports, but you better goddamn well root for Buffalo.
There you go.
What if he becomes like a Duke Leafs
Oh,
fan?
I don't care about the Leafs, but if he roots for Duke or the Red Sox, he's gonna be paying rent a lot sooner than he thought.
We would never raise a Red Sox fan, so.
Never.
Okay, Eric, number 7.
Oh shit! Hang on. Number 7. That's where I got Metal Gear 5 slotted in. No.
Cut it.
Oh, he wants me to cut it.
I still say you keep Metal Gear 5 on there.
Yeah, if it's Fortnite, then keep Metal Gear.
I would say swap Fortnite for Metal Gear.
Oh my god.
Wow, Corey's on the Fortnite wagon.
Yeah,
tonight.
what is happening?
The Fortnite is like very culturally significant. I totally get the love for it.
But
I put
okay.
a lot of time into that game.
Yeah.
But is it a
More
top
than I
10
did
game
Metal
to
Gear.
you? Is it something that you'd be like, this is one of my top 10 games that I've ever played?
Me
Well,
personally,
it's
no,
not.
and that's why it's not on my list. But I could absolutely see it for people that were really into it.
The thing is I recognize it is not a top 10 game of all time, you know, in the terms that you're saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're talking best and favorite as being two different things.
Yeah.
No, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying, Eric, do you think this is one of your top 10 games ever?
Oh man.
No, I don't think I would be shocked if you said that,
The
honestly.
more you press me to say no, the more I want to say yes.
Well, there's also, I had a flavor of the week pick. I called it as much for
Well,
Civ
the
6.
thing is,
so
it's not a flavor of the week for me anymore. I never play it now. Because I got to a point where everybody else was getting better and I was stagnant.
there you go. So I'll say, spoiler alert, EverQuest is still on my list of top 10 games of all time. Not because I have any interest in ever playing it again, but it was just so significant in my gaming history.
I mean, there was a period, like a decent long period of time where I was on Fortnite every single night
Mhm.
with Jeff and Showtime, and then a random, and we'd mix a fourth in. We would literally text each other during the day, say, "Hey, get on Fortnite tonight," and every one of us would be like, "Oh yeah." It was a thing we looked forward to,
Yeah.
and that feeling when you get the win. Oh.
Hey, Eric, you do you. We're going to have an episode 500 at some point. You can take it off the
Maybe I
list,
take it
episode
right back
500.
off. Maybe it just needs to be on on the fourth top 10 list, but then never again.
Yeah.
Just recognize it that 1 year.
Time and place for it. Yep.
I have all people too. I'm a Fortnite defender. This past year I had it on my ambassador games list, just because of it transcends.
Yeah.
It transcends. Just gamers playing a parent pickup at my kids' elementary school. Like I would hear parents talking about how they played with their kids. Like,
Yep.
that level of bringing people together doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
It was so transcendent that it did that. So
Jeez. I
Like
feel I should put
Pokemon
it on
Go.
there.
exactly like Pokemon.
I feel like it has a place here, Will.
I don't. You
I
could
think
maybe
it definitely does.
you could maybe
Oh
slot
my
it
God.
slot
Oh my
slot it
God.
into number 10.
What are we looking at dropping?
I don't know
What
that I
I'd
would.
take off though.
I don't know that I would take off Metal Gear. Is the thing for
So,
you,
I would.
Eric?
Would you take off Mario 64?
See, nostalgia games for me have, kind of fallen by the wayside on my list. They've all gone down a little bit. So
I feel like Mario 64 is the one to go if I'm taking one off.
I mean, how
That's tough.
how formative
Modern Warfare is not going off.
how formative was that to your gaming childhood?
Not very.
I thought it was.
But I usually keep a Mario game on my list.
And I'm the first person to say that may be the best game ever made.
Yeah. Do I take off Halo? Shooter for shooter? Granted, the mechanics of one being far superior to the other.
There is no longer a Halo on my list, if it makes you feel any better.
Yeah.
Same with me.
Man, it's tough to take Halo off though. Like when you think back and it's nostalgia.
I know. Yep.
You know.
Those are some good times.
Yeah, the best
I mean,
times.
If we had to pick a game in our collective history that like
I
united
think
us.
Halo would absolutely be the pick.
It would be
When
Halo or EverQuest.
Yeah, I think it would be Halo.
Yeah, probably
At the end
because
of the day,
because we
really
were all in the
talking-
same place when we played that,
Yeah,
which is not something that happened with EverQuest.
yeah.
Not
Except
really.
for that 1 week.
Yeah, that was EverQuest 2, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Okay.
No, it was
Hated-
the,
no,
no, it was
one.
the first EverQuest.
Yeah, because Eric was, or Dan, you were trying to get your J boots, or Eric
J
No,
was
it was
yeah.
Kyle.
Kyle.
No, Kyle was helping me get my J boots,
Yeah.
my journeyman's
I'm putting
boots.
EverQuest at number 1.
Why not? Just get it over with.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could take Mario off, but it's so good. It
Yeah.
was so good.
That's ageism right there, is what that is.
Yeah. Does Metal Gear go then?
That's my vote, but I mean, you apparently liked it a lot more than I ever did.
Yeah, maybe I take Metal Gear out.
You could take it out and feel good about the fact that the story was mostly a mess.
Yeah, that's what I'm choosing to go with.
Or just take it out as a good FU to Capcom.
Konami.
Konami.
Man, Fortnite
Same
sneaks
thing.
in. Fortnite sneaks in at 10 then. Wow.
So, okay, so you're shuffling Fortnite in at 10. What moves up to number 7? I don't remember what you had last.
Then I guess Mario 64 would be at number 7.
Okay.
I like
It
that.
keeps moving its way up. By the end of the night, who knows?
I like that.
All right.
Corey, number 7.
I've got Enderal at number 7.
Whoa.
First time appearance for Enderal. You know what? And I'll admit to being pressured into it only because I really liked Enderal, but I didn't know how much of my love for that game was kind of a fluke until it had a mass release on Steam. And I still follow the Enderal subreddit, and like people's comments are really just like reiterating the fact, reiterating how great that game is, and every little comment reminds me of the thing I loved in that game. And I remember I gave a pretty impassioned speech, and is probably if I had to point back to like my personal best moments on this podcast,
The pinnacle.
my defense of Enderal I think would be one of them. So I'm not going to rehash it here, and honestly, I don't think I could even come close to rehashing it here. But it's just a game that people need to play, and people that love RPGs, people that love Bethesda games, people that love fantasy role-playing games, like, you need to play Enderal. And other than that, other than me telling you to play it, I don't know what else to say.
I will get to it this year, Corey, I promise.
Thanks.
Hopefully in the summer, but I will get to it.
I have it on the docket too.
It's
I
downloaded.
absolutely do not. Not on a docket until it comes to console.
Someday, maybe.
I've sworn off PC gaming.
PC gaming is the worst.
The worst.
It's kind of easy now. I
No.
just boot up GE Force now and pick the game I want to play, and don't even think about it.
We'll be talking about that later
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
with the Google Stadia stuff. So, Will, number 6.
My number 6, I forgot that another game that I cut from my list was Mass Effect 2. But in its place, I put Mass Effect 3. So
You
my
like
number 6,
You like 3
Yeah.
better than 2, huh?
I do, and
Mass Effect?
yeah, Mass Effect 3. So
You're like 3 better
Nice.
than 2.
so
Oh, come on. I've been singing that.
Corey, I know you've been seeing it, but you're the wild card.
Go ahead, Will. Sorry.
Okay, so for my reasoning for this is I look back at the Mass Effect series, and all of the moments that I look back the most fondly were Mass Effect 3 moments. A couple of them being, you remember when you're on Thessia, the Asari homeworld, and it's just getting absolutely demolished by the Reapers, and like there's that big war going on? Like, that moment was so cool to just see a destruction of a planet and being on it, and then you fight Kai Lang on there. Loved that moment. The Thane moment, too, was really good. The Mordin moment was really good, where he's singing up in the tower trying to cure the genophage. there's just a lot of really amazing moments in that game that I feel like the only reason people don't like Mass Effect 3 is because of the ending. And I'm willing to look past all of that because I think the gameplay was really good. The story was really good. I think the Reaper Invasion was really well done because I felt like there were stakes every single time that you were doing a mission in Mass Effect 3, whereas Mass Effect 2, you're just like, go at your speed, do whatever you want. Like, I felt like a little bit more prompted to work my way through the story because of what was going on. And not to mention the opening in Mass Effect 3 was awesome, where you're seeing Earth get obliterated. And I will say, too, that Mass Effect 3 had my favorite fan theory out of any game ever, which was the indoctrination theory, and I still choose to believe that the indoctrination theory was what was actually going on over the ending that they had. So, for all of those reasons, I know Mass Effect fell on my list down, I think, 3 spots, but, just Mass Effect 3, I think, as I get further from it, was probably the best game in the series. The ending is whatever at this point. I'm not too upset about it because I don't even choose to believe that ending.
I'll jump in here. As someone who really liked the ending, I'll say that one of my favorite episodes we've done as a podcast was the indoctrination theory bonus episode, which I don't edit, right? It wasn't a main episode.
No.
So if you get a chance to go back and listen and you're interested in getting into the weeds of theories about stories within games and stuff like that, like our episode on the indoctrination theory, I thought Will did a really good job of breaking that down. And I'm with you, Will. I find that fascinating, and it really enhanced my adoration for the game, similar to how analyzing the music or the song lyrics in BioShock Infinite really enhanced my love for that game. The metaphors that are in some of the songs and stuff like that. Will the circle be unbroken? Yeah, just studying that kind of stuff. Like it just really enhanced my interest in the game. So I'm with you 100%. I've been singing the Mass Effect 3 song for a long time now. I know Dan, and it seems like most people prefer Mass Effect 2, but I'm with you 100%, and I think you nailed it.
I'm with you on Mass Effect 3 all the way up until the end. I cannot get behind the ending at all. I think it's a terrible ending. I will always think it's a terrible ending. I do not like that you can invest that much of your time into something and have an ending that's ambiguous as the ending of Mass Effect 3. I like knowing what happens. And me and my wife talked about this with Game of Thrones. Like, if the Game of Thrones ending is like even slightly ambiguous, I'm gonna be furious because I don't like that.
And you know what, though? The thing is with the ending, I kind of feel, and this is probably a really bad cop-out answer, that the ending that they were going to do regardless was just never going to live up to the expectations that everybody thought of. Because it's really, the more that we do this, it's hard to take 3 games worth of choices into as many endings as you could possibly have.
and have them end in a meaningful way for no matter what you choose throughout the 3 games. And I agree with that.
And I just look at the ride that was Mass Effect 3, and I thought
it was their job.
That's why I said it's kind of a cop-out answer to give. But it's just like, I look at the Star Child interaction that you had right at the end of that game. Like, even that was really awesome. It was just like the part right after where the colored explosions. Like, that was where...
which flavor is your Mass Effect 3 ending?
Green, red, or blue.
I totally get it. Like, I understand the complaints. I just happen to really like how that ending sort of elevated beyond, like, so you're saving the universe essentially, right? But then there was like this next level on top of that, and that was just like perfect to me, because when I die, that's how I want my death to be. Like, you don't just die, you go and hang out with the Star Child and they answer some important questions that determine the end of, or the future of the universe. Like, I don't know, it just really worked for me. And the whole idea of, spending 3 video games worth of time crafting your own unique ending never really clicked with me. It was all about the journey more than the actual ending. I just didn't really care. By the time I beat it, I'm like, hey, great, I beat it. Like, what a ride that was.
Yeah, but the whole ad campaign for the game was beating you over the head with your choices matter.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna argue about that. I just didn't care about that personally. Well, I get it. I get it from other people. I totally understand. I just never cared about that.
Yeah.
I think that the choices do matter until the very end of the game.
Right. So do they really matter?
No.
Yeah, of course they do.
Fuck no, they don't.
Well, it depends. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I understand both sides of it, because as someone who enjoyed the ending, like, and I could see my choices along the way showed me things I didn't get to see, or showed me things. My unique choices showed me unique things, right? And just because it didn't play into the ending didn't really bother me. Whereas I totally understand where some people it would. I get it. I'm not going to argue that. And you're right, Dan. The marketing all along was like, your choices will, determine the outcome of this 3-game long campaign. And it turned out it didn't really. But I don't know. I didn't care.
This was also one of the last things BioWare did that was good.
Yeah. Like I said, I love the whole game. I'm with Will 100%. The moments in that game were amazing. It was just the end that soured me to the third game specifically.
And I guess the knock on Mass Effect 2 and why I don't have it is there really was no narrative. And not that that's a bad thing, but I just think the narrative that drives the story for a Mass Effect 3 was very compelling, and everything, like just seeing everything in shambles because the Reapers, the threat that you've been seeing since Mass Effect 1 is there, and they're actually just messing everything up. And it wasn't like Commander Shepard was like able to stop it. He could not stop the Reaper invasion. And so it was just really cool to see how everything was just crumbling around him, and he was doing everything he could, and that's what ended up happening. I think everything about the game was awesome. And I'm with you, Dan. Like, I don't like the ending, but overall, the only thing I didn't really like about it was just the colored explosion, and that was it. I think the ending with the Star Child was good. When you're talking to what's his lips and the black guy, I can't remember his name. He helped you while you went through the
Anderson,
thank you. Like that, like all of that ending stuff was good up until you made the choice. You saw the end credits.
Yeah.
So,
I also happen to make arguably the right choice, so
same here.
I'm a little biased.
Actually, I don't remember what choice.
Wrong choice.
Did you do Destroy, Corey?
I did the one where Shepard breathes at the end.
Spoilers.
It's Destroy.
I think I did too. Yeah, Destroy.
Yeah. Beardless says, I think taking that series power fantasy to the point where the player was allowed to unethically tamper with the DNA of the galaxy's inhabitants was where I dropped off.
Is he referring to the Star Child stuff or the?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if the synthesis ending, I think is what he's talking about there. Yeah. But anyway, we should continue because we could talk about Mass Effect for a while. I've got Mass Effect later on, so we'll maybe revisit it at that point.
You got the right Mass Effect.
The correct one, the correct answer.
Yeah, correct.
3.
I do want to say really quick that I've been on a huge space kick too, so this is why I'm very impassioned by this choice.
And Will, you mentioned to me that you're going to play Andromeda soon, and I'm actually pretty excited for you to play that.
As soon as I finish Far Cry 5 and Assassin's Creed Origins, I'm gonna play Andromeda. Very excited for that one.
Mass Effect 3 derailing podcast since 2013. Thanks, Beardless. I totally agree. Because we'll go off on a tangent every time that comes up,
Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy? I've picked 3 stink bugs off myself since we've been sitting here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ew.
Sorry.
You didn't kill him, did you?
No, I just flicked them away.
All right, so that was number 6, Will?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 6 is Crusader Kings 2. I previously had it number 5. Crusader Kings 2, great game. I haven't played it too recently, but the most recent time I played the Game of Thrones mod, which is excellent, and I really suggest any Game of Thrones fans out there to play the Crusader Kings 2 Game of Thrones mod. It's fabulous. But for me, it's one of the best grand strategy games. 20-hour learning curve, and that's just to learn the basics. I spent a ton of time playing this game when my daughter was first born. She would not sleep unless it was either on me or my wife. We could not put her down for the first probably 3 months of her life. So I would take her at night, lay her on my shoulder. I would lean back on my computer chair like this, let her sleep, and I could play Crusader Kings for 6-7 hours just laying like that. 'Cause
Nice.
I just needed the mouse. So I would do that until 4 in the morning, however late I could stay up, and then I'd pass her off to my wife, and then sleep then. So some memories there for that game too. But yeah, it's still one of the best grand strategy games of all time. They're still adding content. There's always some sort of new expansion that they're adding. But yeah, definitely recommend the Game of Thrones mod for that one. It's fabulous.
Crusader Kings 2 was talked about not as much as Guild Wars 2, but it was up there for a while for how much Crusader Kings 2 was talked about.
Yeah, Corey, you played a little bit, right?
I tried it. I couldn't. The couple times I tried it were bad times for me to try to learn a complex game, so it didn't get its best shake in front of me. I still want to play it.
It's very complex. Very complex. But anyway, Eric, number 6.
Number 6, he says. I've got, and you know what? I'm sitting here reading my list, and I feel like this one should be a little higher for me.
You can move that.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare. There are a few games, for whatever reason, with my memory and whatnot, where I like remember things happening. But Modern Warfare is one where I always have this memory of playing on Overgrown.
Oh yeah.
And being up in one of the buildings on the side of the river, and just reeling off like, God, I wish I knew the exact number, but I had to have been at least 15 kills straight, with a combination of people like across the river from me, picking them off, people down the road to the left, picking them off out the window, people coming up the stairs trying to kill me, getting them with claymores or my secondary weapon. And I'll never forget just the groove that I was in that moment. It was just like, it's probably the best groove I've ever been in my life. Like, I was just sitting there like I could not be killed. It was fantastic. It's probably the best moment of my online multiplayer gaming that has ever happened to me. And I'll never forget it. And probably for that reason alone, I'll never take that game off my list.
Eric, Overgrown, in my opinion, is one of the best Call of Duty maps, too.
Fantastic.
And you know what? Some of the Call of Duty maps that I look the most fondly of are in that game. Pipeline was another one I really liked. Block.
Yeah.
Crash, we had that big building up top. Everybody was going to that big building.
I used to snipe up there.
I mean, honestly, Call of Duty 4 changed shooters.
Yeah, oh man, the sniping in that game, it was just so satisfying.
Yeah, it's the Call of Duty 4 is one of the quintessential shooters to come out, and like I'm so glad that I grew up and got to grow up playing it, because like people now are playing Black Ops 4, and like that's their Call of Duty game, and I'm like, man, you guys don't even understand how awesome Call of Duty 4 and like World at War were when it came out.
I think that is the quintessential shooter.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare. I mean, that was really the one that set that series off running.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they've been able to do it. I liked World at War as well, but I don't feel like that they have been able to recreate just like the package of the campaign as well as the fantastic multiplayer maps as one package. I don't feel like they've been able to recreate that since.
Yeah, no, 100%. I still remember like playing that the first mission in that game where you're in the helicopter flying to the ship in the sea, and like it's storming out and like the waves are crashing up against the ship and stuff like that. It's just like it's just such a fun game. Like the multiplayer and the story campaign was one of the better campaigns in Call of Duty.
Yeah. So good.
That's
one
my favorite. Call of Duty.
That one might creep its way up my list next time.
Well, you still got to move Mario 64 up a couple more spots, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you got to figure out between the two.
Yeah, it's so good. I just have so many good memories of playing that one. That's the game I was probably best at of any game I've ever played.
You got pretty far in the prestiges too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I played the shit out of that game.
Eric, I have a hard time believing you played it more than you played Rocket League.
Pardon?
I have a hard time believing you've played that game more than you've played Rocket League.
Oh no, Rocket League I played more than that game.
I would argue that is your best game.
In my prime, if I was to compare the two of which one I was better at, I would probably say Call of Duty.
All right, that's impressive.
Eric was
There were
very good at
times-
Call of Duty.
There were times playing Call of Duty where, like, sniping in particular, where if you got anywhere near my sights, you're dead. Rocket League, I'll miss the open goal. Still.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. That's someone who often misses the open goal.
Yeah. Call of Duty did not miss the open shot.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay. Corey, number 6.
My number 6 is EverQuest. I hinted that it would be on my list. It's one of those things where it's all nostalgia at this point. Like, I would absolutely hate if I had to go back and play a game like EverQuest right now, which is fine. It just holds such a sweet spot in my memory because I was at the age of 13, 14, 15, where you're like, you're an actual human, but you don't have any responsibilities.
So you could do whatever you want.
Exactly. So where in our household, Dan, my dad, and my mom always got up for work over the summer at like 5:30 and we're gone by 6. So I would be tasked to watch Will for the day. So that would just turn into me sitting at the computer and playing EverQuest and turning 101 Dalmatians on for Will or whatever else you wanted to watch. Happy Gilmore was probably another one that you watched a lot of.
I also remember playing Melee a lot, Super Smash Bros. Melee a ton.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at that age, other than feeding me, I kept myself pretty much occupied.
Yeah, you were very autonomous, really. I mean, you were a great kid to babysit because you required no attention.
Yep.
Which worked out for both of us because I wasn't about to give you any.
He wasn't ready to pay you any attention.
Corey just wanted to play EQ.
Yeah. But no, I mean, those are just some of my fondest memories in life come from playing EverQuest, multiplayer with Eric and, you know, all the guys. And also the time and place in my life. It was that perfectly innocent, like, before I knew what it was like to love, before I knew what it was like to lose love, you know, just like all the worst parts of life, like I just hadn't experienced yet. So it's just like all about EverQuest first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And
all you had to worry about was Paladol Caverns.
Yeah.
You didn't have to worry about women.
Right.
And rent.
Paladol Caverns was a great leveling spot.
Your electric bill. Somebody else was paying that.
Yeah. It wasn't my problem. My problem to deal with. But Will, I feel like you'll remember this, and it just happened to pop in my head. But I remember sitting and playing EverQuest in the computer chair I was sitting in collapsing underneath me.
Yes.
Man, this is a great segue, Corey. I was going to bring up, and maybe we've told this story previously, but I feel like it should be told anytime we get a chance. If I may, since we just did confirm that it was EverQuest 1 that we were playing during the week that your folks went out of town.
Yes.
I think they went to Georgia that week, if I remember.
Atlanta.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were all hanging out playing, and our friend Kyle at the time was sitting in the computer chair, and he went to the restroom to relieve himself and took a shit. Came back out, and, you know, we didn't think anything of it, just using the bathroom like any normal human being would, and came back out, and we're like, geez, kind of stinky out here.
After a couple hours.
Couple hours goes by. Think, dang, it's a little stinky out here. Come to find out, Kyle at some point admitted to us that he did not wipe his ass when he took a shit at your house and then sat in your computer chair.
His excuse was he couldn't find any toilet paper.
couldn't find the toilet paper.
Didn't ask
he
anyone.
also couldn't find his vocabulary to then ask somebody, hey, where's the toilet paper?
You know what immediately jumped into my mind is we live in an era now where you can just text somebody and be like, hey,
Hey,
I'm
where
kind of in
the fuck's the toilet
a
paper?
pinch here. Can you bring me some toilet paper?
I'm in a
But,
bind
like,
in here. Yeah.
Back then, he would have had to like open the door and ask somebody.
But Corey, was that worse than him then having to admit that he did not wipe his ass?
No, not at. I mean, no. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm trying to help him out a little bit.
But at the same
rationalize the whole
at the same
process.
time, Kyle's one of those guys that wouldn't have the social wherewithal to know that you're going to get picked on less if you ask for toilet paper than if you don't wipe your butt.
He did everything in his power to get picked on as much as humanly possible.
Yes, he did.
And that was one of his finest moments.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally agree.
And I've never forgotten it, nor will I ever. Anyway, I digress. Ever.
But yeah, my last thought on EverQuest. I still, to this day, will Google old like EverQuest videos on YouTube just to make myself feel good. I don't know.
Great game.
Yeah.
Real quick, Corey, about the chair collapsing underneath you. I vividly remember that because I also remember you just laying there and not moving, and me being like 5 and being like, Corey, and you just not responding.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It was one of those situations where like you feel like you're on a TV show. You know, like this actually just happened to me. Just the way like the chair literally just collapsed underneath me, and I didn't like I felt no pain. It was such a glamorous collapse and fall like straight on my back that I just felt the need to lay there for an extended period of time.
Yeah, like it was like the chair like was right here, and it just like somebody took the legs off, and you just went like that is what happened, if I remember correctly.
Oh, it's funny how that stuff sticks with you.
Yeah, I still it's one of my earlier memories of life, was that.
Me collapsing in the chair.
Yeah.
And laying there. Was EverQuest the Fortnite of its time?
I think so.
Yeah.
At least as close as you could get.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I think the subscription fee was a little bit prohibitive for some people.
Sure. Could compare it to the season pass.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I mean, when you think back, like in those days, you had to get a parent's credit card, right?
Yeah.
Actually, you probably still have to do that. I don't know what the minimum age to get a credit card is, but
Yeah, I
like,
would imagine.
back then, asking a parent for a credit card to put like in an online form somewhere, like
That was a big deal.
yeah,
I don't feel like it is now.
no,
Well,
my-
and you could
Mine
buy
cards everywhere.
you can go to the store and buy like subscription cards with cash.
yeah,
Redeem those. They didn't have that back in our day.
nope.
Will, number 5.
My number 5, Eric, you're right. Smash Wii U got replaced by Smash Ultimate.
Of course it did.
And actually charted higher on my list in the previous year. I had Smash Wii U at 6, Smash Ultimate is 5 on this one. So,
Wow.
Smash. I think Smash Ultimate is the best Smash Brothers game. People still fight over Melee being the best. No, it's Smash Ultimate. End of story. Fantastic game. Looking forward to the DLC. I've never been lazier on a weekend than that Smash weekend, too.
I mean, the perfect quote, wasn't it, Corey, your girlfriend who came in and was like, she said something to the effect of, are you guys going to, like, go do anything? And you're
Yeah.
just like, I mean, no.
This is what we're doing.
This is what we play.
We're doing something.
Yeah. It was well over a day's worth of Smash Brothers in a weekend.
Yeah. We would play from when we woke up till about 2. or
Never
3.
got tired of it.
No. Not at all.
And it's my goal every weekend to have weekends like that. I
Yeah.
don't ever achieve it except
No.
that weekend, but like it's literally my goal to just be a lazy slob and play video games all weekend, every weekend.
Oh, yeah. Great game.
Definitely. I will say that weekend almost ruined my life, though, so. my journey home.
Oh, right. Yeah, you could have died.
Could have died. But you know
Happened,
what?
though. Now you're stronger because of it.
It's true. I'm buffer, stronger.
Yeah.
But strangely, if that's how my life ended, it would have been a good exit.
Hey, I mean, you had a great weekend.
Exactly. Played the one game that I really wanted to play that year.
You got to see the Utica Comets.
Utica Comets got belittled by Corey's girlfriend.
Chili, frittata.
Chili, frittata, pizza, wings.
Yeah. Had
Hit
it
all
all
the-
that weekend. We lived like kings.
Chips.
Yeah.
Chips.
Pizza rolls.
Oh.
We house those.
Those
Didn't-
are gone. Matter of
did-
minutes.
Didn't you have 2 40 count bags that we just ripped through?
2 40-count bags that lasted all of 10 minutes.
I think I had like 15.
Yeah.
Of them. But yeah, that Smash Ultimate is my number 5.
Nice. My number 5, I've got Guild Wars 2. What did that?
Drop?
Yeah, it dropped quite a bit actually. It was my number 2 at episode 300. I don't think I've played it since, and I've also will say that I feel like we've talked about it enough in past episodes, so I won't say any more about it now. Other
You
than
did
the
hammer home Guild Wars 2.
yeah,
on us.
I think we've talked about it enough if you've been listening to us for a while. The one thing I will say is there is some things in that game that I feel like some modern games could take a few lessons from. So specifically the online shooters with the way they structure the world events. I think it's a really important thing that Guild Wars brought to the table that other games need to copy.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, Eric, number 5?
5?
5, yeah, 5.
Number 5. How about Halo?
Halo.
Good pick.
Number 5. Yeah, the original Halo. And again, I kind of referenced this earlier on, but this is purely a nostalgia pick because obviously some gameplay improvements have been made since the original Halo. But man, I'll tell you what, some of the best times of my life were definitely hanging out in Jared's basement, having 4 TVs set up with 4 Xboxes, just playing Halo, eating pizza, and drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
I mean, without a care in the world about anything.
Yeah.
Those are the best days.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's why Halo's still on my list.
It's hard to argue with that, and honestly, Eric, I feel bad saying this out loud, but when I removed Halo from my list, I hadn't really considered that,
Yeah.
the way it brought us together.
Oh God. And it was like every weekend.
And
Oh, yeah.
and the entire weekend from Friday night
Oh,
until
yeah.
Sunday night, we played Halo and were
We had the
filthy
weekend
and
that
ate
Corey
pizza.
pines for every weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Maybe that's why. Like, I'm just trying to return to
Yeah.
my 15-year-old self.
That's all I have really to say about it.
It's a good pick.
Honestly,
No,
when I listened to episode 300 and I removed Halo 3 from my list, I was kind of very surprised, and I wanted to slot it back in, especially for how excited I am for the Master Chief Collection coming to PC. But I had a really hard time putting it in there because Halo 3, I know you guys are talking about Halo 1, but Halo 3 was my jam and look back very, very fondly. It's probably my second most loved shooter ever, and Halo's great.
If it makes
Yeah.
you feel better, Will, Halo 3 would be the one that would be on my... If I had to pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the amount of hours I put into that game is just sickening.
Other than Halo 4, it was the only Halo that I was good at, was 3.
Yeah. Same.
Get good.
Get good or uninstall.
'Cause,
Corey,
I mean, we won a Halo tournament, my team, so.
Oh, brutal. Brutal tournament.
I saw Billy at work the other day, and we started talking about that tournament.
Was he there?
Yeah,
He was supposed to be our ringer.
He was our anchor.
yeah.
Wow,
He
let
sucked.
the team down.
Yeah, he did. It's all Billy's fault.
Our best player was not as good as their worst player, probably.
Yeah,
Which was me.
Yeah. That was a massacre.
That was a massacre.
I was
You guys-
beside myself.
You guys won the
Well,
SWAT. So.
You know what? The thing
that's
about
the only mode I'm good at, so I'm not surprised to hear that.
the thing about it though is like I knew that's how it would turn out, but it still hurt. You know?
didn't. Corey, I hadn't come to terms with that. I'm not sure I have yet.
You want a rematch?
No, I don't. I don't have it in me.
Oh,
I couldn't threaten Dakota now. He'd give me a severe ass kicking.
sure you could. It wouldn't be illegal now.
That's
Threatening minors.
I bet when Allison was there that day to just be there, she never thought she'd have to break up a fight between 17-year-olds and you
To be
guys.
fair, I mean, I know, Eric. Like, I get it, but like,
Yeah.
he provoked it.
Oh yeah,
He really did. Clearly, I remember it vividly.
We still talk about it, and he's like, "Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I provoked that." Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was asking for it.
I did text Allison after I left and apologized for my behavior.
You have nothing to apologize for, Eric. Don't worry
Well,
about
I mean, it's not my finest moment.
it. Well, no, but like,
He did deserve it.
little shit deserved it.
Yeah, he did deserve it, and he would
Now
admit that now too.
Now he's too big for me to argue with. Yeah. Halo. All right.
Corey, number 5.
My number 5 is I still have Terraria on my list. I'm sorry, like in terms of just pure gameplay, like pure gameplay, just fun elation. It's Terraria. There's no story. It's just have fun, like figure it out and go. And I think that's very rare in games. And the games that do have that kind of structure to them are not nearly as complete or polished as Terraria, in my opinion. And I'll never forget at work beating Terraria with Will and his friends while I was at work.
It was me, Johnny, and maybe somebody else.
Yeah, there was one other person.
I think it might have been Evan, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right. And we beat it, right? Or was it a boss? I can't remember.
We beat it because me and Johnny figured out how to beat it before, so we had done it, and we were walking you through it because you had never beaten it.
Yeah.
This is how it worked.
So I had like my dumpy laptop on my desk at work, and I was playing Terraria, and it was seriously like 10 frames per second, just like the worst conditions. So much input lag, and I think like the network was awful because it was a major corporation with shitty internet, which is more common than you'd think. And it was a very, very fun moment. Terraria is still great. Have you guys played it recently? It's still really good.
I haven't,
No.
but it is pretty. It does hold up. It's one of those games that I think will forever hold up.
Oh yeah,
The real question is it on Nintendo Switch?
I think so.
I think
gotta
it
be.
is.
It's on everything.
I would
It's on
think it is.
phones.
I don't think it's on Switch.
Let me look.
If it's not, it should be.
Give me just a moment. Please hold.
Yeah,
Hold please.
good call, Will. Bring it right up. And then you can go to number 4, Will.
My number 4, I talked about earlier how a lot of games on my list were games that I have pined to keep playing over and over and over again. So number 4 is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And it's actually funny that bringing this up because when I listened to episode 300, Corey told me, and I had been saying for about since episode 300, wow, why didn't I put Breath of the Wild on my list? But Corey made a good point. Keep it off on this list because it's going to be a game that the further you get away from it, the more fonder you're going to look back on it. And Corey is spot on with that because it's charting very high. And if I had a ton of free time to keep replaying games over and over and over again, I would be probably on my 4th or 5th playthrough of this game. Because I think this is a very special Zelda game and just a special game in general. With everything it does. I love how they did the story for the game with the memories. Terraria is not on the Switch, by the way.
Oh, it should be. What the heck?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it's not on here. But yeah, the story that they did for Breath of the Wild is really cool because I liked how they did the like photograph memories and stuff because you're just kind of thrown into this world and like, yeah, go beat Ganon if you want or do all the other stuff. So like you get like the backstory of what kind of happened in the world there. So that's something that I really liked that they did. And just like the way the physics and mechanics work for the game, like being able to solve puzzles by laying swords around to connect electrical currents and just like trying to like cheat puzzles because I couldn't figure out how to do it. It's just like there were so many ways that you could beat areas in the game. It was just so much fun. I loved like collecting the Korok seeds and just everything about the game. The different regions were awesome. I still remember climbing the one mountain and seeing that dragon that you can get scales from and fighting it, the corrupted dragon. I love Breath of the Wild so much, and very happy that Corey told me to wait a little bit because it might not have charted as high on my list if I had it on there previously. But yeah, that's my Breath of the Wild spiel. I'm guessing it might come up later.
Oh, it'll come up later.
Okay, yeah. So we can talk more about it then. But yeah,
Sure.
Breath of the Wild is my number 4.
Okay.
Oh, one big problem though.
Yeah.
The weapon durability. Gotta go.
I actually like that about the game.
Oh, no.
I definitely can see why people wouldn't like that. It didn't bother me because once you get far enough in, you just kind of have have the Master Sword and you kind of have a revolving door of weapons that you can always get anyway. So yeah, I can see why people wouldn't like that.
At the beginning of the game, that sucks. It really sucks.
Super.
I agree. Okay, so my number 4 is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. That was the same. Number 4, yeah. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. That was the same as last time. I would really like to play this game again. I just don't know if I'm gonna have the time. But I remember it fondly. Bloody Baron may be one of the best quest lines that I've ever played in any game.
My favorite.
It's good stuff. It is a kind of a. There's a lot of political stuff in it, which has Game of Thrones type of flavors to it, which I also really like. I adore that game, so it will remain at number 4 on my list.
I still have to play The Witcher 3. I never played it.
Yeah.
Wow, you never played it.
No, I don't really know why either.
Did you play 2?
No, didn't play 2. I tried playing the first one, and actually, honestly, I hated it, so I never played it.
I think Corey's the only one that played a significant amount of 1.
Yeah. Skip 2 though, Will.
I would jump right into 3 if I do ever end up
3.
playing
It's by far the best one, by a wide margin, at least in my opinion. Eric, number 4.
Number 4 for me is Heavy Rain. Again, that was one that I played for our 4 in February competition. It was the last one I needed to beat, and I did it the last day of February. I sat down and played the entirety of it in one sitting. I think that kind of lends itself to why I have such a good memory of it. Just sitting down and playing through that story, just in one sitting with all those different characters and how everything kind of ties together and how there's different endings, but like having your specific ending for your playthrough. I just thought it was fantastic. And it obviously had some issues with controls and things like that, but it is what it is. But as far as storytelling, and I'm not a big story guy, that game had me hooked from beginning to end. It was just amazing.
Heavy Rain,
I'd never. What's that?
Heavy Rain, right?
Yeah, I'd never played a game like it before. Never played. It's just I did play a game kind of like it after. It wasn't nearly as good. I think it was made by the same people. It was the one that had Ellen Page in it.
Oh yeah.
What was the name of that?
Beyond Two Souls.
Yep.
Yeah. Sucks.
I just wanted to say, Quantic Dreams games are coming to PC, which is Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human, and Beyond Two Souls.
Which I still would like to play at some point.
All coming to PC. At some point, I think in the summer, I read. So I would very much like to play those.
Yeah, it was just such a cool story, and like all the characters that you come across, and like, oh man, just the way that everything ties together. It was fantastic. I'm not sure there'll be another game like that ever. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There may be a game in the same genre, which there have been, but I don't think another game in that genre is going to do it as well as Heavy Rain did.
Okay. I'm interested. I will get it when it comes to PC, no doubt.
I've said my piece.
Corey, number 4.
Newcomer to the list is Red Dead Redemption 2 coming in at number 4.
Nice.
Wow. Hot.
I mean, Will, you talked about it a little bit with Breath of the Wild, but it's just the further away from playing it I get, the finer it ages. And a lot of it is my adoration for Arthur Morgan. I think he's
Big
an
Artie.
unbelievable character. If I could model my own personality after somebody in gaming fiction, it would probably be Arthur Morgan, because he's kind of a badass, but he's also got a good heart.
I was just going to say, I was thinking about this earlier today, specifically about Arthur Morgan and what an interesting character is, because he's a criminal.
Yeah.
But, like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
It's like he can separate the fact that he's a criminal from his own personal life, you know? Like, and even everyone in the gang, like, they're all criminals, but they're not bad people. Like, it's just what they do.
Well, I don't know how far you got into the game, Dan.
I'm in chapter 3 or 4.
I don't know if there's some moments in the game where Arthur Morgan sits down, I think, with Tilly a couple times, and, like, they have a heart-to-heart about exactly that. He's like, I've done some bad things.
Yes.
And it's like, it's awesome. Like, those moments.
But he knows they're bad, and he acknowledges it.
Yeah.
Right. It's his being. That's what he's come to know. And that's
That's
all
what he
can
has
do
to
well.
do to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah, and he's very effective at it. And also, toward the end of the game, is very endearing to Arthur Morgan. So that's a big part of it. But, I mean, for that game to make it number 4 on my list, there's a lot more that goes into it. It's just so beautiful.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, it's one of those games you can turn on and you're there. You're in the Old West. The sounds, the sights. I mean,
let's talk about the pacing a little bit, because I know that's something that has turned some people off to. I was talking to a friend today who purchased the $100 version of it, right? So he was telling me how his wife was watching him play it, and she was like, I don't understand, like, what you like about this game. It's so boring and, like, slow, and there's nothing going on. But I mean, I feel like, and we talked about this when we did our episode on Red Dead, it was deliberately designed to kind of play kind of slow.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really lends itself well to like that like Western feeling, and kind of like being an outlaw. It's kind of, even though you're in a group, Arthur was still very much kind of to himself. You know what I mean? And I feel like the pace of the game really kind of showed that off in a way.
Yeah.
And they just did such a good job of like creating that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think it would have worked, that pacing would have worked in most games, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is so beautiful that you don't mind things moving slow, you know?
Yeah.
There's always something to look at.
And you get sidetracked, at least I did, even just going on these hunts. Like, I'd hear an animal off in the wilderness, and I would just go off. I'd see like this giant elk, and I'd be like, oh dang, I'd really like to get that pelt.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And you go tracking that animal. Next thing you know, it's been 30 minutes and like
or more.
Yeah, 30 minutes or more tracking this fucking elk to get the pelt and like take the meat back to your camp. Which
you got it. I was gonna say, you got it to the camp. I would always put it on my horse and then end up putting my horse in the river, and then I'd lose the pelt.
Oh no, never happened to me. Never once.
That happened to me multiple times.
Yeah, but like sitting here talking about it, like that sounds like a tremendous waste of time for guys like us who are looking for games that respect our time and don't drag out and have all this shit going on. But like while you're in the flow of a game like Red Dead Redemption, you're not thinking to yourself, this is a waste of time. You're thinking to yourself, damn, like I just really, really want to complete this hunt that I'm on and take this food back to my camp, even though I know in my head taking the food back to the camp really doesn't matter all that much.
Yeah.
But man, if I didn't just want to do it.
Yeah. You want to be useful because that's the way to enjoy that game world. It's
Exactly.
just by being useful.
Being part of the camp.
Right.
Yeah.
I even spent time doing the camp chores, like carrying bags of corn around and chopping wood. Like,
And when you hear yourself say that, you think, that is fucking ridiculous.
yeah,
But when you're doing it in the game, that doesn't cross your mind. You're like,
No.
I'm doing the right thing here.
absolutely.
These people need their wood chopped.
Right. And that's kind of what Arthur Morgan was, like Corey was saying. Like, he's a hard ass. He's got a very, like, thick exterior to break through, but at the heart of him, he did the right thing
Yeah.
that he had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a special game. It really
Right.
is, and I think it'll only improve. I still haven't played any of the online stuff. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with DLC. Have they talked about that yet?
Not that I'm
Oh.
aware of.
But I mean, yeah, that's my number 3
Yeah. And
or 4. Sorry.
to talk about your point with the pacing, Eric, I totally agree. The pacing is perfect for that type of game. Like Corey said, it would not work in a lot of other games with the slow pace. Like, it just it puts you that much more into that world. Like, things move slowly back then. You know, it's just how
They
things worked.
they just nailed it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's like, oh, the store's closed. Well, guess you got to wait till
Wait till
tomorrow.
tomorrow. yeah.
Yeah, tough shit, I guess.
I
I
guess
I get my fucking ammo tomorrow.
I'll go stay at the inn, or I'll go find a campsite out in the woods.
Exactly.
One of
I'll
my
cook my meat over the
favorite-
fire.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments, and I talked about this when I was playing, or when we did our episode about the game, was when I went to one of the inns, and I went in there, and there was a group of outlaws, and they told me that I better step away from the bar. And I went in there just putz around, get a drink, whatever.
Yeah.
They told me I had better step away from the bar, and I thought, if I was Arthur Morgan, how would I handle this in real life? And I thought, you know what Arthur would do? He'd take a shot of whiskey and he'd just start throwing haymakers. And that's what I did.
You did.
And I beat all these guys' ass, and then I took another shot and rented a room for the night.
Nice.
There you go.
And I thought that was just perfect.
You're like, I'm not even gonna run away from this. I'm gonna
No.
stay here tonight.
I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna say, yeah, these trail bodies here, that was me. What are you gonna say about
What
it?
of it?
Yeah. You want to be laying there next to these guys? I'll have another shot. What a game.
So good.
It's a special game.
Will, number 3.
My number 3 fell back a spot, but it's Final Fantasy VI.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this game ad nauseum, so we'll spare that. But great game,
Great game.
especially because I know it'll come up later.
Yeah, definitely will come up.
Wait, I'm sorry. What's the game?
Final Fantasy VI.
Back Aspire.
Yeah.
So another game's ahead of it.
All right. Yeah, boy. You get somewhere.
At my number 3, I have Mass Effect 2. My own personal favorite Mass Effect game. We got into Mass Effect earlier, so I won't throw some salt on those wounds. But yeah, Mass Effect 2. I also had Mass Effect 2 at episode 300 at number 3. So that's my number 3 game. Eric, number 3.
Oh, jeez. Let me get my list here, Dan. Sorry.
That's all right.
Number 3. Oh, Journey.
Journey.
Man, what a game. This is another one, man. I just had such a weird connection to this game, and this is one I'll never forget too. A lot of the games that I as we're talking about these they have things that I don't forget, which is odd for me because I forget everything. Journey though, specifically at the end of the game, I remember walking up the hill or the mountain, whatever you want to call it, and like thinking to myself, based on what I was seeing on the screen, and you should definitely play it so that you can picture what I'm picturing if you haven't played it. It looked like, this is going to sound very strange to people who have not played it, but it looked like literally like sperm swimming on the screen into an opening, which could be interpreted as life basically. And I remember thinking to myself at the end of the game, I was like, man, this is just like, it's just talking about like kind of the cycle of life. And I just had never had a game that made me think about anything like that before, and I was just like blown away by it. And I had already really liked it before the end of the game, but because of the visuals, and it was just like unlike anything I'd ever played before. But man, the end of the game just really took me on a ride that I had never been on before, and it was like kind of an emotional and spiritual journey, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word. And I'll just never forget that. You should go back and listen to our episode about that. I'm sure I probably put it into better words at that point, but yeah.
Yeah, well, Eric, I'll jump in as a fellow Journey fan, and I'm pretty sure the game was on my list, if not for episode 300 in the past. I'm with you 100%, and I like that's the metaphor. It's for me, it's like the journey of life.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, it sort of, it doesn't really click with you until you're at the end of it, and you're like,
not at all.
I get it now. And we talked about, we've shared this story multiple times about people's experience, like doing most of the game with another multiplayer person, and then by the end of it, losing that person, and how just devastating that is, and that like that's part of life.
Yeah, like Corey, sorry to interrupt, but yeah,
no, go
like
ahead.
I didn't even really think about it like at the time either, because I didn't know that was a mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the people that I was coming across in that game were actually other players. I thought it was like a computer thing, like an AI, and I was super bummed when like I lost the guy that I was like wandering around this world with, and I didn't really have any reason to be. And it was just like real life, like not just like it obviously, but to an extent just like real life, where like people kind of come and go throughout your life, and you're going on this journey. What a great name for the game. You're going on this journey through life where you're meeting these random people, and you didn't even have to talk to them or say anything to them, but you were like bummed when they were gone.
Yeah.
And then at the end you're like, all right, this game has literally been about living life and the people you come across, and then I guess kind of like reincarnation or something. It makes you at least think about those kinds of things.
Sure.
How many other games do that?
Very few.
Not many, no.
Very few. That's why, like, when we talk about games as art, I always have Journey at the top of my
number one.
It's such a unique aspect of the gaming medium, is to be able to have a shared experience with somebody else. Like you don't get that in any other medium.
And not talk to them, especially.
Right.
You just all you do is you see their name at the end of it, like their screen name. But like, it's pretty awesome when you see a screen name. You're like, oh fuck, man, I just shared this with 69 or 69.
XX Sephiroth. 60.
Yeah. Great.
Who am I kidding? Nobody's using Sephiroth in their handles anymore. It's like
that was
15-year-old
15
thing.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think 69 or 69 isn't playing Journey.
Sure.
Call of
that
Duty.
person is.
They're playing Fortnite.
Fortnite nowadays. Yeah.
Number 10, Fortnite.
All right, Corey.
Said my piece.
Number 3.
I've got Rocket League at number 3. My top two games. My top two games may never be displaced, and they haven't changed in a while anyway. And my number 1 is Final Fantasy VI, and my number 2 is Final Fantasy Tactics. I'll just say it now because I don't have anything to say about those two games that hasn't been said before. But I do have Rocket League at number 3. I think it's moved up on my list previously, and for me, it's gotten to the point where I cannot play Rocket League, because if I do, I will never play anything else. So I just don't even turn it on anymore. I don't have it installed. Like I have to pretend it doesn't exist, because it just consumes
Corey,
me.
Let's hold more Rocket League talk. I don't want to get into it yet.
All right, fair enough. All right. Yeah.
Okay, then Will, number 2.
My number 2 is a newcomer.
Oh.
And that game you guys are gonna be surprised, is Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Number
Wow.
2.
Number
Wow.
2.
Okay.
This might be a case of right place, right time for me, but, and I'll go back and say it, for a game that I've been pining to play again, this is atop of that list. Everything about this game I loved about it. I loved the open world. It's one of the better open world games out there. I think the storyline with it is really cool. I think the protagonist, Cassandra, is by far the best protagonist in the game. What a likable character she is. I did not play Alexios, but I did play Cassandra.
Yeah.
Their Greek world was beyond fascinating to explore. There are so many cool missions in that game. Like I talked about, the one mission where you save you have the choice between saving the people on the island, and if you save them, the island eventually gets infected by the plague and everybody dies off, and like that can happen. Or if you kill the family, you're doing that and you're saving the island, so the island doesn't get infected. It has like missions like that, and there was countless missions on the different islands that were really cool. The other one that I really liked is the I won't get into too much spoilers, but it's basically a Spartan war where you're trying to overthrow the government on there. And you team up with Kira as one of the characters, and I can't remember the guy, but like you do this whole mission, and then it ends like with a very tragic ending. There's just so much good storytelling in this game that I look back on so fondly and loved every minute of the game. I was actually bummed when I ended up beating it, the main story at least, but there's still 3 other stories that I have yet to complete in the game. There's the cult story, I don't know who's running the Cult of Cosmos, and then the Atlantis story, that I don't know what happens with that. So like, I'm still not even done with this game, and it's charted this high. I love the game so much, and I think I get mad when I see people talk about how Assassin's Creed's lost its way, because everybody complained that Assassin's Creed was getting stale, so when they changed it up, everyone's complaining that it's different now. That really bothers me, because this game is unbelievable, and I think people are shortchanging it because it's not a linear game like the Assassin's Creeds used to be. And I think everybody should play this game because I think it's amazing.
I like it.
But yeah.
I'll back you up a little bit, Will. I think I had said that if I had beaten Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it may have been my number 2 game of the year this year. So I really, really adore it, and I'm with you on the Greek world, the way they captured the beauty and the mystique of that world.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and Jake says there's 3 DLCs to it that I haven't even gotten a chance to play yet. The game is so massive that I put maybe 50 some hours into it, and I'm still not done with the game. Like, there's still a lot more that I want to do, but like the game just has this mystique and like mystery to it, and it's so much fun. And like hunting down cultists is one of my favorite things to do. Like, it's pretty samey, like, you know, you find where they are and you kill them, but just like some of the dialogue that happens between some of the cultists, because you find out, oh, they were a part of the story, so like you're betrayed by them. I don't know, it's just all really well done, and I loved this game. And as I said, it might be right place, right time type of game where I might not think as highly of it on episode 500, but man, did I love it and want to play more of it. So it put Assassin's Creed, because I was the Assassin's Creed defender out of all of us, and I loved the games and had stuck up for them for a long time. But I got away from that, and now like it's kind of putting it back on the map that the Assassin's Creed games are really good again. So that's my spiel about Odyssey.
I look forward to playing it. Well, I really do.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it, Eric. You would enjoy it. Great game. Combat's so much better than any of the other Assassin's Creed games, too. It's not janky, and it's not just counter the whole time. So
Yeah, I look forward to playing it.
Okay. All right. My number 2. My number 2 is Final Fantasy VI. That's right. It got bumped from number 1 because my favorite game, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Woo.
I quit.
No, you don't understand. Legend of Zelda. Go ahead, Will.
So, because Corey and Eric aren't on every episode, Dan talks about. Okay, so Breath of the Wild comes up just about every episode.
It's the new Guild Wars.
Kinda, yeah. It honestly is. It comes up almost every single episode. We talk about Breath of the Wild, but go ahead, dude.
Yeah, no, it's the game that Corey talked about. What game was, I don't know what game it was, a few games ago, where it's a game that, like, Rocket League. If you started playing Rocket League again, you wouldn't play anything else.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when I start playing Breath of the Wild. I play nothing else for months. That happened. There was a period of time, 3 or 4 months last year, where I just played Breath of the Wild and nothing new. And every day I have to fight not playing Breath of the Wild. I have to fight it off because I play the Switch a ton, and I'm trying to power through some of the more recent games that came out. Obviously, it's stuff that came out last year, but it's still topical stuff. But I still have to fight off that craving in the back of my mind, like an addict.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's addict talk right there.
And I wanted to bring up, because a lot of my nostalgia games have taken a tumble off my list. Obviously, I got rid of Earthbound. Final Fantasy VI went from... I thought for sure that was never going to be toppled from my top 10 list. But when I was doing this list, I tried to figure out, like, okay, is there any situation in my life right now where I would pick playing Final Fantasy VI or Breath of the Wild? And there's just not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good
That's
memories
fair.
I have with the game, but I'm also making new memories with Breath of the Wild. My son's playing it, my daughter plays it, my wife played it a little bit. I played it a ton. I want to play it more. Damn it. Number 1.
Damn.
Favorite game of all time.
Special game.
Let me throw a scenario at you.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VI walks up to you and says, "Hey, Dan, don't leave me." Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild walks up to you and says, "Hey, Dan, I know you love me. Who do you go home with?"
Breath of the Wild.
Oh, you're a sick man.
Blasphemy.
I
Final
can't.
Fantasy VI is crying.
I'm aware, and I feel bad. I never thought that would be supplanted. But
All those characters, all those beautifully written characters, and all their story arcs, and you're just gonna poo-poo them to make some food out in the wild.
Shadow's gonna come and kill you.
To go and collect a bunch of shitty old weapons that are just gonna break on
That
you.
are just gonna break.
and the thing is, like, and your comment is valid, Eric. A lot of people hated the weapon durability thing.
I did.
But
It's terrible.
I loved all that stuff. I loved the
But
rain
why?
when you couldn't climb things, because it made you improvise. That's the game is about improvising.
I'm with you on the environmental things, but not the weapon things.
Yeah.
Well, it made you improvise. Like, okay, I don't have a lot of weapons here. I can't take out this goblin camp, or I can find a really creative way to take out this moblin camp.
And when you get far enough into the game anyway, you have a ton of weapons to choose from.
Yeah,
I didn't
you know what, though?
have any issues.
I don't like that argument. That's like saying you need to get a season into a show before you like it. I hate
What?
that argument.
It's about progression.
I know what you're saying, but
it's not the season argument, because by the time that you get far enough into the game, you have so many weapons that it doesn't really matter. It's an early game thing. It's no different. It's no different than being blocked out of a skill early in the game because you don't have enough experience points or you're not that level. It's no different.
Disagree completely.
It's no different though.
I'll also say, as someone who's beaten the game, I didn't really feel like I was ever comfortable with my inventory of weapons. There was always that concern in the back of my head. I don't think I ever, except for the Master Sword that doesn't break.
Yeah.
I think that was the only weapon I ended up having.
It
like,
runs out of
in the
energy.
game. Yeah. I don't know. I remember being really frustrated when like my trident broke and I looked at the requirements to get a new one, and it was just like, well, I'm never gonna spend the time to get what I need to make this again. And I like on paper I like the idea of being in a dungeon and like not having what I need to beat the dungeon and being like, okay, well I need to improvise here. But in practice it never played out that way. It was just like, well, I guess I got to leave this dungeon and go find some weapons outside in the world. Which is on me. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying like the way I play games, it didn't work for me.
You also have the Divine Beast skills too to take out enemies.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not like because you ran out of a weapon you're screwed and you can't do anything. There are other ways to be able to do it.
Sure.
No, it's just annoying.
Super
Not
annoying.
necessary.
Yeah. Breath of the Wild, number 1.
That's a bold pick, Dan, but I applaud it.
New memories. All right.
Will, you started to say before I got up to go to the bathroom about Breath of the Wild and how it ages. And I just wanted to say that I agree with you. And the further I get away from that game, the more I think fondly of it, because I know I liked it and said as much when the year it came out, but
you guys weren't crazy about it though.
I think if you go back and listen to the tape, you'll realize we weren't that hard on it. We just weren't as crazy about it. Yeah, we just weren't as crazy about it as you guys were.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't know if I mentioned too, but Max has beaten the game several times, and he's also far better at the final boss battle than I am. Far better.
Mario Kart 8 can only be so far away, Dan.
I should practice. I really should.
Can't wait for that day to come.
Damn it. Well, I will tell you guys as soon as it happens. You know that. Eric, number 2.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what. My biggest disappointment with this whole thing is that I'm the only one that has The Last of Us on my list. I just can't even fucking fathom how you 3 jackasses, not one of you, could find it in your heart to love The Last of Us.
I'm with
when
Corey.
Fucking everybody else on Earth did.
Meanwhile, we have 4 Final Fantasy games on our list.
I'm with Corey on this one, and better movie than video game, right, Corey?
That's
man, I don't know.
My succinct explanation.
I like this, like the story. Didn't like the gameplay that much. That was my issue with it. It was largely personal, but
I find it hard to follow that argument with somebody who liked The Witcher 3 as much as you did, when the gameplay in that was pretty fucking bad.
It was better on PC.
And we're also talking about 2 totally different kinds of games here.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but if you're telling me the gameplay is what threw you off, I'm here to tell you the gameplay on Witcher 3 wasn't that good.
A lot of it was shooting, being a third-person shooter with a controller, which I hate.
That's fair.
We're also you do hate shooters on consoles.
I can't play them. It's awful. I don't even think I'm going to touch Anthem anymore. It's bad.
Well,
it's not fun.
Plenty of reasons for that.
That's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I'm glad we spent money on that game, Dan, because I haven't given it more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, I played probably 2 or 3
by yourself
hours.
The same night that we offered to play with you, but that's neither here nor there.
That was by design. But you guys know that.
We have no doubt.
Not surprised.
But anyway, The Last of Us. Oh man, yeah, like you were saying, Dan, what a great video game story that was. And you know what was underrated about that game? Maybe not at the time, but I feel like now the multiplayer was really, really good in that game.
Yeah, I never tried the multiplayer.
It was fun. It was really good because it kept like the crafting aspect involved, and it was really fun, and it got pretty intense. I will give you the shooting mechanics, not the best you've ever played. But I think as a total package with the characters and the story and everything wrapped into one, that was just, man, what a game. It still breaks my heart that did not win the Game of the Year for us.
My favorite part still of that is the cannibal part. That was
any of you have BioShock Infinite on your fucking top 10 list?
Yeah, it's number 9 for me.
That's the only one?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm the only one that has it.
Year over Last of Us, incredible.
It's a good game. If I was doing a top 20 list, it would be ahead of Last of Us.
Would you have it on your top 20, Corey?
BioShock Infinite?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
I probably would too. I'd probably have it in top 15.
Which is appalling.
Yeah, but Last of Us is definitely not anywhere near the top 20.
Fucking hate you, Corey. All right. Anyway.
Well, I feel like the gameplay is really the only thing you can complain about for that game, right? I mean, because the story, we all agree the story was great.
Sure.
Yeah. Gameplay is the one.
Intense moments too, like when you're trying to turn the electricity on in that one building and you're down in the water in like the basement area. Oh my god, I was like not trembling, but like I was like scared shitless. It was just, man, just so intense and like kind of depressing, but man, and Joel was such a good character in his relationship with Ellie.
Yeah.
And the opening to that game, man, I'm not positive I could handle the opening of that game now, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
With how soft I've gotten, I'm not positive I could handle that.
Yeah, I think my two favorite parts were the parts of the cannibal and then the giraffe part. You remember the giraffe part?
Giraffe part, yeah.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
The giraffe.
It was they fight through like a school or something. And they go out on the balcony of a thing. And there's some giraffes majestically walking that had escaped from a zoo or something.
Some greenery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very nice cinematic moment.
But you guys remember the opening?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. With the guy on the glass door, like
I don't want to spoil. No, not that.
after that.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm not sure if you're talking about a specific moment or the whole sequence.
I mean, the whole opening sequence. I mean,
yeah.
What happens there?
Yeah, that's when Joel went to Starbucks
Joel
and got that salted caramel latte.
Oh man, that's one I just can't fathom how Corey can honestly say that Joel is not a black coffee drinker.
You know what? This is another one that I can't remember all my well thought out arguments, but you got to go back and listen to the tape.
There's no way to defend that.
I think I pointed to some books that were in his personal library that indicated to me that he was not a black coffee drinker.
So because Joel is well-rounded as a reader, he doesn't drink black coffee.
Yep.
Huh.
He's a Starbucks caramel macchiato kind of guy.
Let me ask you this question, Eric.
Maybe
this will help clear it up. Do you think Arthur Morgan drinks black coffee?
Yeah. Of course he does.
Of course he does.
If you think Arthur Morgan drinks black coffee and Joel doesn't, Corey, we're not on the same wavelength there.
I guess they're not.
They're damn near the same character.
Beardless brings up a good point. Not big on The Last of Us, but Left Behind was excellent. I totally agree. Left Behind was excellent. I feel like the pacing was a little bit better in Left Behind. Did you play Left Behind, Eric?
I did.
Okay.
It was all right.
Yeah, I thought the pacing was a little bit better in that one.
I disagree with that. But yeah, the black coffee debate, Corey, I just will never. We're just not going to see eye to eye on that one.
You just want him to be so manly, but he's
is.
He's not half the man that Arthur Morgan is. I'm sorry.
God.
I'm sorry.
He had far more of a struggle than Arthur ever fucking thought about having.
I want to say so many things, but it's spoilers for Red Dead Redemption, so.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. I haven't beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want.
I will say,
spoil
Eric,
RDR.
I know what it's like to be the only fanboy of a game and try to convince you three assholes to.
Well, no. The thing is I am not the only fanboy.
No, I mean
I happen
on
to
the
be
show.
on a podcast with the only 3 people in the entire world
Right.
who are not fans. Of the game.
No, I'm not pretending like you're the only one who likes Last of Us. I know it's universally acclaimed. I just mean like in terms of getting you assholes to care about it.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
It's nearly impossible and it's frustrating. But
well, it's been an 8-year struggle.
It's not like we're stubborn or anything.
Yeah.
Individually.
Yeah, but I will say, I've said it before, I'll say it again, The Last of Us has my favorite ending in all of video games.
Oh, great ending. I didn't even touch on the end. Yeah.
Yep.
Are we getting The Last of Us 2 before the end of the PlayStation 4?
It could be one of those situations where it comes out for both.
That's what I'm wondering, because we've seen literally nothing since they showed it off at E3 like 2 years ago.
That's another one, though. Do you even touch it? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Could never live up.
Yeah, it doesn't live up to Bioshock Infinite.
Oh my god. Last of Us 2 is already better than that. I like Bioshock Infinite.
Obviously, Chill chimed in his unconventional number 1 and number 2, Alan Wake and Bioshock Infinite.
Oh, I did not like Alan Wake.
I never
Obviously,
played it.
Chill. Good games right there.
I like Bioshock Infinite. I did.
Not familiar with Alan Wake. I have not played that one.
I didn't like.
I'm
Alan
familiar
Wake.
with it, but I haven't played it.
I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it.
There were just a lot of, and I can't remember exactly what it was that turned me off, but I think it was a lot of there were some repetitive moments running through the woods or something. I can't really remember.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Alan Wake had some awesome moments. The highs of Alan Wake were really good, but the lows were really bad.
Yeah.
It was a little inconsistent.
Do you know what I wonder? It's because I think we played the game a couple, like maybe 2 or 3 years after it had been out for a bit. So maybe if we had played it when it first came out, we would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Or maybe.
It might have been
I
one of
definitely
those
played it
cases.
later.
Yeah, we both did.
Did you guys get to the point in the cornfield with the
I beat that game.
stage?
Yeah.
Yeah,
band
that
and
was
the-
awesome.
okay. Yeah, that was really cool.
That part was fucking great.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but the traveling through the woods,
Oh god, with those little phantom things that were
Oh.
hunting you down.
that was fucking awful.
Oh,
Those are the parts that were just like, all right, that's enough of this. Yeah.
yeah. After the 100th time of
Yeah. Yeah.
like, yeah, enough's enough.
Corey,
All right.
number 2.
Final Fantasy Tactics. Yeah, I don't know. My one-liner for that game is it couldn't exist today. I really don't think it could because there were so many game-breaking ways to build your team that somebody would post on the internet and that would be the end. Nobody would enjoy that game anymore. So I don't think a game like that could ever exist again, which is really unfortunate because it was so well done at the time. But I don't want to get into it. We talk about Final Fantasy Tactics all the time.
Sure.
No, let's get into it.
No.
I like
Because-
the tactics for what it's worth.
It's my number 1, so.
Oh, okay.
there it
Yeah.
is.
Number 1. So get into it, Will. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna never be dethroned as my number 1 game.
You say that, but Dan,
I never thought Final Fantasy VI would be supplanted.
Yeah,
What it
but
was.
Dan's also weird because he keeps throwing tactics further and further back on his list.
Yeah,
This-
Dan's doing some hipster stuff tonight.
I love it. Dan, I love what you've done
Thank
with your
you.
list.
I'm telling you, nostalgia's fallen by the wayside a little bit for me.
Yeah, no.
I'm making
you're-
new gaming memories with my children. So
What kind of IPA are you drinking tonight, Dan?
I'm drinking Utica Club and Guinness. No IPAs.
Dan,
Ah,
I
the
think you've-
Guinness, there
I
you
think
go.
You've done well tonight.
Yeah,
Where's
I-
your fedora? Put the fedora on and chug that Guinness.
My
I'd
fedora
buy-
got packed away and I haven't been able to find it yet.
I don't know, Dan, what you don't enjoy about tactics anymore.
It's not that I don't enjoy it.
Wait,
It's not on your list at all?
No, it is. It's number, what is it, 9?
Oh.
This is like our
That's
this is like
exactly what I wanted.
this is like our second place argument for best console.
Yeah,
what,
but
what do you mean it's at number 9?
No, Tactics it's at number 8 for
That's
me.
it?
Oh.
Well, that's even more bullshit.
Well, Dan, I would argue that that's one of our finer moments in our history.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
we still remember those days fondly.
Yeah.
me and Eric screaming at each other over second place.
Well, I just remember like the intense argument, and then Dan being like, "We are arguing about second place," and me just being like, "Oh yeah, we are."
Yeah.
I guess I don't care anymore.
Because the Wii U one, right? I think it was.
Yeah, the
at
Wii U
least.
one, and we were arguing about PS4
Oh,
or
man,
Xbox.
Fucking Wii U one, guys.
Xbox One.
Yikes! Another
No.
travesty.
That
But
was
that was
that
when
was
it
the
was-
year that they had. It was, I think it was Smash, Mario Kart 8, and I think there was another game that came out for it.
Splatoon, probably.
Yeah, it was a like hefty Wii U year.
Splatoon.
Yeah. It was the only year the Wii U pumped out stuff. But yeah, I mean, as Corey said, we talk about Final Fantasy Tactics all the time. I hope for the love of God they do either a Steam or a Switch release for this game, because the only way to play it really is on either my PlayStation 3, which I don't feel like plugging in, or my phone, and that's not going to happen. So, because I was doing yearly playthroughs of this game, and I haven't the last 2 years. So, but I mean, the story for Final Fantasy
Yeah, it
Tactics.
just doesn't hold up anymore, huh?
Yeah, I might just drop it off my list. Like Dan.
Wait, what do I drop off the list?
Well, you don't have
Tactics.
tactics on your list, right, Dan?
No, it's number 7. No,
I
8.
thought it was number 9.
8.
I still can't believe Dan doesn't have tactics on his list.
Yeah, it's somewhere on the back half of the list. Somewhere squandering away in the, you know.
Okay, you know what? I'll put it on my most hated games list.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Uh,
We should
Street
do
does it
that.
too.
We should do most hated games.
Oh my god.
That's a good idea, actually.
Like every 413, what's unlucky number 13 could be the bad games.
How have we not come up with most hated games?
Because I have trouble, unless I've been drinking, coming up with strong feelings about anything other than sports, usually.
I feel you.
You know?
I think that's
Yeah.
our age talking,
with you.
Eric.
Nothing really gets my gander up these days unless somebody says something negative about the Bills. That still gets my gander up.
I will say too, it's harder for me to articulate an argument for why I don't like something,
Yeah.
as opposed to why I do like something. I think
It's
easier.
why I'm not positive that I'm a great manager at work, because anytime somebody does something they probably shouldn't, I think to myself, I could see why they'd do it that way.
I do
You
it
know?
the same way.
Yeah, like
But
it may
Eric,
not
that's
be how I would do it, but I see why they would do it that way.
what makes you a great manager.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at it that way.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I
don't
would
know.
think.
Definitely.
But then I don't like coach people. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, yeah, I mean, I could see that.
It makes sense. I get it.
You know, I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other about anything.
So that's how I feel, Eric. That's our age talking.
Yeah,
Mid-30s. Don't care.
There's gotta be
I've got
something
far
that
more important things to worry about.
I'm trying to think of a game we've all hated.
Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah.
That
Dan
would be
sold
up
his
there.
Xbox because of it.
Game fucking blew.
Getting remastered, by the way.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'm
I
like,
did hear they're redoing some of the stealth though.
really?
Yes.
It's weird how much I hated that game. I'm actually interested in getting it, and I don't know why.
Mm.
I'm a sheep. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Where were we? Eric,
I think I'm the
number-
only one that hasn't said what their number one
number
game
one?
was.
Let's hear it, Eric. I think we
Oh,
know,
yeah.
but
I
let's
think
make
it's
it
time for
official.
Me and Corey to talk about Rocket League,
Yeah.
the best
Let's
game
do
ever,
it.
the most addictive game ever.
That's for sure.
I've put so many hours. I don't have an accurate tally, but I've purchased it on every platform that it is available to purchase. Whether I play it or not, I don't really care, because I just want to show my support for the good developers over there and the Rocket League team. And like Corey said, it's just one of those games where you take some time off from it, and if you go back to it, you just don't want to play anything else. And it's for a few reasons. It's because the games only last like 6 or 7 minutes,
Yeah.
which is perfect for, where I'm at these days.
Yeah.
The competitive nature of it is so fun.
Yeah.
It's a game that is, I guess you could kind of say it's easy to play, but very difficult to master. And I've put in, God, high hundreds of hours, and I'm not even close to mastering the game.
Yeah.
Not even close. And watching people who are masters at the game is incredible.
Yeah.
My brain just doesn't compute quickly enough to do the things that they do.
Yep. I'm with you in that I've sort of come to the realization that my physical limitations prevent me from getting as good as some of those people.
Absolutely. Like, you think to yourself, how did he ever think? A, how did he think to do that? And B, how was he able to think it and then do it quick enough?
Right.
But yeah, and the thing about Rocket League that surprises me that I like it that much is it's not a game that I've played mostly with people that I know. It's a game that I've played mostly with people I don't know and don't talk to, which makes me realize even more how much of a great game it is, because a lot of the games on my list are nostalgic, or like Halo, for instance, that I played with you guys growing up, where like that one, for a multiplayer game that I really have played mostly with people that I don't know, to have it as my favorite game, I think speaks volumes about just the gameplay and like how intense the games can get, and the moments that you can have when you do pull off like an amazing save or an amazing aerial goal. When there's no time left on the clock, oh man, there just are far fewer feelings in the world that give me the satisfaction that Rocket League does.
Yeah, the range of emotions that Rocket League brings out of me, I don't think any other game will come close to that. But they've also done a really good job of keeping people engaged with the way they do I forget what it's called, but like the seasons with the rewards. I forget the terminology for all this stuff, but like they've really figured out how to make this thing sustainable.
Yeah, they always do good jobs with their updates and all the partnerships that they have, and
Yeah.
it's all interesting and adds to the game, and they have just done such a good job with Rocket League. I'm interested to see like kind of where they go from here.
Uh-huh.
You know, do they
Yeah.
keep just adding on to this game, or do they do something different? Rocket League 2, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is.
But this game has captured my attention more than any of all time, and I just can't get enough of it.
Yeah, it's hard to like, even the competitive like sports games I've played, the thrill I get when I score that overtime goal, or the depression I feel when I let in a stinker in overtime. It's just like, man, it's a game that can influence my day.
Yeah.
Which I actually don't like that part about it, but it just speaks to how strong my emotions are from playing it.
It's like reliving the USA Canada Olympics.
Yeah, seriously.
With Parise and Crosby.
Every 7 minutes.
That's still tough to
Every
swallow.
7 minutes you get those strong feelings, one way or the other. You just hope for the best.
Yep.
You hope you get to Parise. End of things.
I mean, and they've also spearheaded the crossplay thing. Like,
Yeah.
That's really important.
yeah, Rocket League was doing that before it was cool.
Before school, yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, we've talked Rocket League to death at this point.
Yeah. Special game for sure.
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, for it to be number 3 behind, for me, Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy Tactics, I think.
And just completely different from those games.
Oh yeah,
Like,
way different. I mean,
Like
it came
Galaxy.
out this century, first of all.
Well, there's
Start with that. But like Dan was saying, those first 2 for me are definitely nostalgia picks. Rocket League would be the first one that is just purely based on how the quality of the game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Corey, number 1, Final Fantasy VI. Do you want to?
Final Fantasy VI. I don't really have anything to say. I don't think anything will ever kill the nostalgia factor I have for that game, and every time I replay it, I'm only pleasantly surprised at how well it holds up. So
It
until that
does.
changes-
It does hold up surprisingly well.
Yeah.
And I think those Super Nintendo games hold up the best. You go back and play Nintendo games, they don't hold up that well. And I think the early 3D games don't hold up that well. But those pixel type, side-scrolling, whatever RPGs, they hold up really well.
Well, I mean that
It's
game
surprising.
came out at a time where all that shit was figured out. Like, they were pumping out the best SNES games you could get at that time. It was just like a perfected art at that point. So
Yeah, totally. Okay. Shall we move on? Nibblebits?
I hate to be a pain, Dan, but I'm probably gonna have to go.
Oh yeah, I gotta go too. I gotta
5
get
or
up
10
early.
minutes. If you want, and I'm just throwing that out there, if you want to do something tomorrow and go through Nibblebits, I'm happy to join in. I just can't. I can't last any longer.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
It's
do
up
we
to
want
you.
to do that? Like, because we should talk about the Google Stadia thing, and but this episode's been over 2 hours, so
You guys have been putting out what, like hour-long episodes lately?
it's usually between 60 and 90 minutes.
Okay.
Just needed
Yeah.
to inject a little boost.
Yeah, I don't want to derail your process here.
No,
I have
that's a good
nothing
idea.
left.
I mean, if you want to go on tomorrow, because I mean it's 11:45, so
Yeah, the only thing is I won't be able to be on tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
But that, I mean, it doesn't matter either way. I don't really care.
yeah.
I have no nibble bits. The only thing I want to talk about was Outer Worlds.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we should probably call it an episode, and we should. This will be a 2-parter. however we end up working it, it'll be a 2-parter. Whether we maybe even continue it next week, because people wrote in feedback, and I definitely want to get to that. But at least for now, we'll plan on tomorrow. Even if it's later, I don't care. I don't have anything going on at night, so
It'd have to be 9 or later for me.
we can't start any earlier than 9 for me. So
We have
that's the earliest I can start. So
start my side hustle tomorrow, so I'll be done.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, that'll do it for episode 400 Thumbstick Athletes Podcast.
Wow. Round of applause.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Way to keep it going, Dan and Will. Sorry I'm such a slacker.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't apologize for my slackery.
Corey, you've been known to start podcasts and then leave.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Just looking for that one special one.
I start them, I sell them, I move on.
Wait for the Dragon Ball one to launch.
I do want to do that. And I was actually going to use. Are we still live? Are we still recording?
Yeah, this episode's not over yet. I haven't.
No, I
haven't put a lid on it.
I want to re-engage somehow with the Thumbstick Athletes. I just don't know what that looks like yet.
I mean, you're still engaged to a point.
No, I know, but like, I don't know. I'm bare minimum. I just show up when I feel like it, essentially.
Well, that's what Will and I have been doing for years.
Corey, since episode 1, I've been bare minimum.
Yeah, I mean, you're just living the life here.
I prepared no notes ever.
I just want to throw that out there. I'm probably not going to be a regular on the show, the podcast again, but I don't know what it looks like. I feel like I want to do something, and when I'm not doing this, I'm doing nothing. So it might as well be this, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Are you announcing your comeback?
No.
Man, don't call it a comeback.
That.
All right. That'll do it for episode 400 of the Thumbstick Athletes Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
I'm Eric.
Will.
Corey.
Thanks for listening, and get out of my basement.